Done is better than perfect, man.
Yeah, exactly, right. So we're just gonna go live. Fuck it, we're live right now. Oh, wait a minute, hold on, wait, what's going on here?
You switching?
Yeah, no, we're live. We're
Okay,
finally
we're
live.
live.
Hey, everyone in the live chat. Sorry, guys, we have a little bit of technical difficulty. Hopefully, my Yeti mic isn't dying. Lord Cognito had told me that happened to his. I hope that's not the case with mine. That would really suck. But everyone in the live chat, thank you guys for being very patient. The good news, we have a great show for you guys. We have a lot to talk about. I'm rubbing my hands like I'm Dr. Evil right now. Yeah, because I'm excited because we got some two great guests tonight. Two great guests, two returning guests. Woo! Let me tell you something. This podcast is gonna be fire. I'm just gonna sit back and eat some popcorn because there's gonna be a lot of conversation going around about a certain gentleman of Japanese descent who set the Twitter world on fire. There's one person who's not here right now who I was going to hand out
a generally peaceful race.
Yes. Well, very docile. Yes. So we're gonna get to that. We got some late breaking news. Finally, we might see some new IPs at X019. X019 might be the real deal. I'm excited. They might. Oh, come on. Wait. Easy. Phil might come out there like Phil Dominus. He might come out in a robe like Ric Flair. Woo! You know? Yeah. He might do it. So J-Dub's like, yeah, whatever. But
no, man, I hope the same thing, man. I hope that happens.
Yeah, let's hope the games are worth the wait for.
Yeah, exactly. Real quick,
we always bring the hope.
We do bring the hope. Yeah.
Y'all gonna be mad. Y'all gonna be mad if we get some Super Lucky's Tale 2.
We do that, I'm never. Yeah, I don't know about. Like, anyhow, we'll get to that. But I want to introduce
Voodoo times 2.
Yeah, right. I don't want to. Don't say that.
Don't put that negative energy out there.
Yeah,
not more voodoo work.
We're gonna get a brute force remake. What?
Thanks.
Yo, if it's a brute force remake, I am throwing things. I'm like,
wait. Can you imagine? We're gonna re-release Whacked on Game Pass. Remember Whacked on the OG Xbox?
Oh,
yeah, I remember that.
I want to see that. Don't do that, Phil. Don't do that. Not like this.
I like this, bro.
But I want to introduce our guest real quick. We have a gentleman who is, I consider him the master of trolling, the master of just throwing grenades and just watching it explode. People often react to him in a very negative way. Look, you guys got to say it's all jokes. This guy, he gets called a pony. He gets called a bot. He gets called a Nintendo head. He gets called a PC elitist. But he's none of those things. He is a genuine gamer. This guy probably spends more money than everyone on this podcast on games, giving away consoles. He's got like a full-on racing chair deck arcade situation for Forza. This guy games on PC. He's got two 2080 Ti's, and Skynet talks to him.
And by my count, he got like 5 trash lights around the house.
Yeah, right.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Facts.
Yes.
Facts. They I'm stepping over them all the time.
Oh my goodness.
He got them stacked up.
So everyone, give a big brap welcome to our returning guest, J-Dub, aka Kratos. J-Dub, welcome back, man.
Hey, it's great to be back, man. As usual, with a great panel, my brothers. Man, I'm ready for this show, and let's get it on, man. Let's get the people what they want to see.
Oh, we're gonna get it. Yeah, it's gonna be a good show. And our next guest, introducing the muscle behind the Iron Lords podcast, the voice of reason, the man behind one of the men behind the best Destiny podcasts out there, The Last Word. Woo! We have Lord Cognito.
Yo, I'm coming to the ring right now. I'm about to hit the Ultimate Warrior music. I'm about to shake the ropes, baby. I'm hyped.
Welcome back, dude. It has been way too long, man.
Way too long, brother. Oh, man. It feels good to talk with my brothers. Took this week off, vacation week, so no vampire life for me. I'm making my rounds, and I gotta be on Brat, man. Salute. We got J-Dub in the building, B Money, Eric Jackson, Slow Mo. Where Forte at? We got to get Forte in here. Where he at?
Man, who knows where Forte at? Man, he hiding out somewhere, man.
Forte was talking
off in the
spicy.
galaxy. He in the galaxy fighting something. He the White Ranger.
But bro, man,
he getting ready for all the Pokemon people, man.
oh yeah, he might have to deal with that. Yeah, he might have to do it. I forgot about that big launch and all that. But yeah, man, rap
off with his stick.
Huge. Glad to be here, man. Long overdue. We got some great topics. Great show. I'm excited, man. Let's do this thing.
No doubt, man. Well, I want to get into the first topic real quick. And this is something that, look, it's been talked to death at this point on Twitter. But Hideo Kojima had an interview with an Italian website. We're talking about Death Stranding. And, oh, wow. I don't know how to say this, but basically... things went a little south, I guess, if that's the right, I guess, word to use. He basically, when asked about the reviews for Death Stranding, he basically was saying, hey, I'm paraphrasing here, basically that, in the U.S., Death Stranding received more critical reviews. And again, this is not an actual quote because I want to read the updated quote later on because I think everyone's read the original quot. But he basically said, Americans they like first person shooters, and maybe that group or crowd doesn't get it. Again, I'm paraphrasing, and it just set the world on fire. I mean, people were calling for this guy's head. I saw people calling Kojima racist. That's a first.
Oh my God.
People were calling him an elitist. He's entitled. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Not all Americans play Call of Duty and NBA 2K and Madden. Stop lying, you do.
Facts.
Number one on NPD.
Yeah, come on, man. We play others, so we don't play shooters. Come on, we just don't do that. We play Gears of War. That's not a first person shooter.
Facts.
Jokes.
Facts.
We play Sekiro. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Just killing in it. All joke aside, I did tell E I'm playing Death Stranding, right? I really enjoy it. I told E, I said, you know what, man? I think people have a different perspective of this game. If you could play as Norman Reedus' character and jump off your motorcycle like Dante and Devil May Cry could chop people up, you might have a little different perspective of Death Stranding, but we'll get into that later on.
No, then they'd be saying it's repetitive.
Yeah, well, okay. So real quick, so it's funny, obviously there was a translation thing here. This thing got translated from Japanese, because if you guys don't know, Hideo Kojima speaks Japanese. That's very, very little English. He primarily speaks Japanese, has a translator with him. He is interviewing with an Italian journalist, so his translator is translating from Japanese to Italian, and then we get the translation from Italian to English using Google Translator. And when I saw this, I was like, this is probably a loose translation. Now,
blame Google.
Things, yeah.
I'm about blame Google for everything. It's always their fault.
By the way, we're gonna talk about Google here in a sec. We're talking about Stadia after this because I got a bone to pick with them.
Fugle.
Yeah, Fugle, and B pulled receipts on me today too. We'll talk about that. Yeah, B was like, "Where's Lord 5G at?" So, yeah,
he no longer lives here.
Yeah, right. But I thought to myself, and I think Eric and B agree with me. Slow Mo was like, "Nah, he knows what he said, man. He's calling us stupid." And I thought, I was like, let's wait, because he's had the issue.
Did I say that?
Okay, let me full disclosure. I'm paraphrasing, but you did get a little hot. You were hot, Slow Mo. You were hot.
Mm-hmm. When am I not hot? That's
that's one. But
that's one thing. That is my normal speaking tone is straight heat.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was saying is, and if you're talking about our discussion this morning, is that
not this morning.
After. Previously when the first comments came out,
you were like, "Oh, he's calling us dumb."
I don't know if I said that. I did preface it with, if this is a accurate translation, because I clearly remembered going through this before, and come to find out his translator was like, was a C student or something, and dude just couldn't translate very well or something, whatever. But I'm like, if this is to be believed, that this is an accurate, actual quote from him, then he's just inaccurate in what he's saying about American reviews. Period. Like that's all I'm saying. Like, and everyone else is all doing all this stuff like, but we do play first person shooters. I'm like, yeah, but that ain't even what he's saying.
Yeah.
He was talking about American reviews. We all know we play first person shooters. Hell, the number one game being played right now in Europe is Call of Duty. We ain't the only ones.
Yeah.
But what he was talking about specifically was US reviewers. And I'm like, I'm looking at Metacritic, and the highest rated game, first person shooter this year is Apex Legends at number 22. So like, it's like RPGs, all kinds of other, point and click games and everything, all above that. I'm like, really? That's not, I am not the one to defend the reviewers, as you know. Like, that ain't my bag.
Yeah.
Like, half the time I'm like, y'all can kick rocks. But at this point, it's like, this kind of calling them out for something they ain't really do. Plus, more than 50% of the 10 out of 10s he got for this game were from U.S. reviewers. So it's like,
that I didn't agree with. I didn't agree with that. I didn't think there was an accurate assessment of the reviews.
But I threw out there too. Like, we don't have like the whole interview. So I said, what if the interviewer asked him, well, how do you feel about some of the U.S. Reviews that you've seen, or how do you sometimes interview might throw it out there to you like that. Like, well, we noticed some of the U.S. Reviews weren't as favorable. What do you think about that,
Eric? That's what I wanted.
Speculation. Why is that dude not allowed to speculate?
That's the point I was trying to drive home a little bit on Twitter, but it just got a little crazy. And
we speculate all up and down the place around here.
Yeah, exactly. I said let me just step to the side for a little bit, but we don't. So we didn't know the context of the conversation, which is very important in these cases, and then we find out that the translation was incorrect. IGN updated their story. The translation. Here we go. I got it right here. It says, "I must say that the game has received." This is Hideo Kojima. The updated translation. I must say that the game has received some enthusiastic reviews, above all in Europe and Japan. Here in the U.S., instead, we've had some stronger criticism. Perhaps it's a game that's difficult to understand for a certain. Perhaps it's a game that difficult to understand for a certain type of critic. And some of the Americans,
perhaps, right?
Perhaps, yes. He's not saying definitively like Americans don't understand. He's saying perhaps it's difficult to understand.
What's the next sentence, though? Let's get that next sentence down.
Yeah,
let's get that.
Yeah, get that energy, son.
Let's keep that energy right. Let's get to the next one.
Americans,
rap. Don't be asking me no questions, son.
Spit that bar.
Spit that bar. Americans are some of the biggest first-person shooters fans, and Death Stranding is that. Originally, the original.
You gotta go back. Run it back. Read that. Run it back.
Americans are some of the biggest first-person shooter fans, and Death Stranding is in that. So, and originally he said Death Stranding flies higher than first-person shooters. That was the original.
I think that's the sentence
that's the one.
That's what
like.
Excuse me. That was that messy added on translator.
Right.
I'm going to bring some hits to my website.
Let me throw this before we get onto that part, right? Because I'm seeing like where the train track switched over, where somebody hit the little rail and the train track switched. Fanboy started the narrative of you don't get it. You don't get the game. You don't understand. That's why you don't like it, right?
Did start that,
but all of a sudden now the ownership is on Kojima because of the Flies High. And that's why I told Enrique, I said, the discourse happened with the Flies High comment, not the shooter comment.
Yeah.
Because we play shooters. We like shooters, right? When it said flies above, people were like, oh, he trying to say we don't get the game. We stupid as hell.
We got some more bars, though. We got some more bars. Get paragraph 2.
Yeah, let's get to
I got it right here, Brap. I'm waiting.
Coming up.
I want to go.
You got that second verse. Let's go.
So Sony actually got back to IGN with their updated quote, basically saying, according to them, according to Sony, Kojima said in America there's a lot of first-person shooter fans. Maybe those fans are saying this like a different game. This is like a different game, and are not rating it very high. Just my quick 2 cents real quick, and then I'll throw it over to you guys. I don't think this is a Kojima saying that we're a bunch of dude bros. I just think that this is his opinion that perhaps there's a cultural preference for shooters in the U.S. You can make an argument just like there's a cultural preference for JRPGs and anime type games in Japan. I mean, there is different markets have different flavors. And I didn't personally take this as an attack against Americans or myself, nor do I think Hideo Kojima is an arrogant asshole. I've been following this man for 30-something years, and I can give you examples of where he's praised Western developers. If you don't believe me, GameSpot did an article in 2013, I believe it was, or 2014, where Hideo Kojima is praising Rockstar and saying he's jealous because Grand Theft Auto 5 is a better game than Metal Gear Solid 5. He says this. Kojima says this. So I think somebody who's arrogant and an asshole probably doesn't give that sort of praise, especially for, let's say, a Western developer who's developing a game that he praises and says that's better than his Metal Gear Solid game. So,
but is GTA 5 a first-person shooter though?
It is. Well, it can be.
Maybe he just don't like first-person shooters. Let me stop. I'm being messy.
But I want to go to Cog because Cog was wanted to drop some bars. Okay,
I'm ready. Let's get it.
Cog, let me know your thoughts on this thing because I know we talked about this. We talked about a little bit. I will agree with you, Cog, because I think we did agree at one point. I'll say the optics of it still doesn't look good, and I say that, but I don't think he's hate mongering or. Saying that Americans are stupid or anything like that.
Here's the thing: like when this news first broke, and I said this, shout out to Boom, he's in the chat. We was on prime time with him on Monday about this. And when I first heard it, obviously the loose translation, right, where everybody was like, "Yo, he's disrespecting Americans," and that. I don't get caught up in the hyperbole. I refuse to believe that. I'm like, let me see what's going on. So you get it, and obviously, let's be real. In his defense, this is like a translation from a Japanese, Italian. There's a lot of factors here, right? So all I can do is then wait to see what happens when it gets cleared up or if he makes a statement. So the first paragraph, nothing too crazy. The Americans are great fans of first-person shooters, and Death Stranding is not. I do have a slight issue because it's almost like you feel a way, even though your game is rated at 84, whatever it is, Metacritic, which is a good score. To me, it gives me the sentiment that he kind of feels a way that it's not like a 90 in the way maybe that he felt it should be. Like if you produce art and you want it to be celebrated. So I think creatively, maybe he felt slightly something there. Again, I didn't go too crazy with that. It's the second paragraph. He's like, I always try to create new things. Disputes and discussions are fine. But here's the part. He goes, it must be said that the Italians and the French have a different artistic sensibility that allows them to appreciate this kind of very original products. See, now he's lost me because he's now saying a group of people from a specific region have a greater understanding, a greater appreciation of the finer things. I got a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's at the end of the day, look, the game is reviewed well. Was it glowing across the board in American audiences? Probably not. It was mixed. It was a very polarizing title. But to me, it just showed his sensitivity towards this thing. And then when you got to be careful. Like someone his PR team or his translators put him to the side. Like, be careful when you start going with regions knowing about art better than other regions. Like that is where it kind of gets messy. So that's why I think it got a little crazy. And to be honest, you know what I'm saying? It's like the way I look at it, this is probably a guy who's really passionate about what he does. He does feel a way about some of the negative reviews. And the last point I'll say is this, and it's the only thing, again, I know this is not the media bias platform here, but I will say this. I do question when one of the chiefs or the editors of Famitsu, who rated your game 40 out of 30 perfect, is also cameoed in the game. Like even Japanese guy fans of the game, they've made question, like, is that ethical? Is that something we need to be doing? So again, I'm not saying that there's bias. I'm not saying that no palms got greased. I'm not going there. I'm just saying that in this case, there's a lot of questionable things that some people are going to look at it with the side eye. And I think that's what's happening with Death Stranding. It's a very polarizing thing. You're on one side of the fence, you love it, you think it's art. And then on the other side of the fence, nah, it's mail simulator or whatever it is. And that's what I think is happening here. But that's my 2 cents on this.
So you're saying that he bought the 10 out of 10s out of 10s for Famitsu, then, is what you're...
I'm just saying
No,
it don't look good for optics. I'm
No,
just saying, let's just be real. Like if I make a game and I put Jason Schreier as a main NPC in my game, it look a little sus. like let's just be real.
Jason is out there promoting his game.
Yeah, then they promote
Twitter.
And then again, I'm not saying it's definitely shystiness going on, but the optics. And then you have the owner of the Game Awards in your game, who we know loves you. Again, optics. That's all I'm saying. He has to understand that when you do these kind of things, people are going to look at you and decide like what's really going on, even though it may not be any of that. It could be all these guys are cool, good friends, and all that. But people are going to say stuff. That's all I'm saying.
Gregor Von, I got to pay the bills here real quick. Glorious War with the awesome $5 super chat says, why are Americans so mad by Kojima's comments when he makes games with U.S. characters as the heroes where U.S. devs make my people the enemy, Middle East? Okay. Don't know what games that he's referencing, but
probably like games like Call of Duty.
No, yes, Call of Duty. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of games, a lot of Japanese like anime and other games use U.S. characters as heroes. So probably one of the most popular anime out there, My Hero Academia, has one of the main characters. For one, the entire story is kind of based upon like a anime version of X-Men, but then one of the main characters is All Might, is pretty much like an American style superhero. So like, I mean, they do like as we do borrow things from their culture, they borrow things from our culture. I don't really see it as like, I mean, I don't think that would, if he said some ridiculous nonsense, that would like excuse him. Like, oh, well, but he puts American looking characters in this game. It's all good. Like,
you know, the mascot for Famitsu is in the game too, right?
Yeah. So,
really?
Yes.
Yeah. Wait, but Gregor Von Doom in live chat said, did IGN give Gears 5 a boost because their friend Alana Pierce voices an NPC in Gears?
Interesting.
She did. She's actually...
Well, she's no longer with IGN now, though.
Not anymore now, but it actually, you know, it's interesting, the optics of what you're talking about, Cog. Alana said, she said, I haven't been talking about... my opinions on Death Stranding on my channel because of journalistic integrity. She's like, Sony paid me money to, promote this game. So therefore I'm not going to give you, my thoughts on the game. And if you guys saw that, she got a big briefcase with the combination. But anyhow, so
she also voice acting in Death Stranding too? She's been doing a lot of voice acting.
I know she's in After Party. I don't know if she's in Death Stranding or not.
Yeah, I don't think she's.
She's in After Party. Maybe I got confused with After Party because I know that just came out too.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Pre-Bordeaux in live chat says he means that Europeans are in general a little more cultured, which is true. Not saying this with salt, no offense. I've heard that from people, service people who've gone overseas, by the way. And I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just telling you what I've heard. I've heard that before.
I've been overseas multiple times. I disagree.
That's because your culture, my
friend. But I appreciate
you drinking. Slow-mo shows up to like Saint-Tropez drinking Cristal and
I appreciate Cog bringing up the other part of that too, and because I guarantee you, a lot of people don't even know the other side of that story on here. I didn't even know all the other part of it. Right?
Yeah.
Most people are arguing, what they see at like the face value.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? And it kind of goes back and we can kind of call it in some ways what it is. And the underlying thing about this is in some ways some kind of platform console war thing.
Right.
Yeah.
That is an undertone of it, and it's so Kai, I appreciate you bringing that other part out because that is a bad optic.
Yeah, it is. I agree with him 100%. I do want to rope my man Kratos, J-Dub. Get his opinion. Come on, sir.
All right.
Drop those bars.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Your levels are good.
Now that we got that out the way, let me tell you my opinion. 2 years ago, people were hating this game. People were saying that Kojima is overrated when he signed with Sony. So this all didn't start just over an article. This was bubbling up over time. People saying Kojima was overrated. The game, as Kojima started rolling out the trailers and showing you little tidbits about the game, people start saying, "Oh, it's trash. We don't understand it. We don't get it. Oh, it's a walking simulator. It's a FedEx simulator." The hate was there. The hate was already there. They just needed something to spark that fire, and I think this was the little spark that they needed. Regardless of what a lot of people were saying prior to this article about the game, oh, the game is trash, it's this. Then you started seeing the people get the games in their homes. And then you start seeing people change their minds. Some of the most dieharded, I can't stand Kojima. Death Stranding is trash. These guys are breaking bread, $65 buying this game, talking about, I take the L, I'm sorry, I love this game. This is the best game I ever played. This is my game of the year. I mean, trust me, I got the receipts. Y'all say I got all the receipts for all the naysayers. So, but you got to realize, right? This is the great console war, right? This is the great console war of 2019. The end of the generation is over, and we still slap boxing for whatever reason.
Why you gotta be disrespectful though? Why you gotta be? why we don't even get the closed fist, Kratos? Why we getting the slap?
Nah, you getting the full palm on the cheek slap.
We get the slow mo. You get the slow mo.
You getting the back slap. So a lot of this negativity was already there. Mm-hmm. But you got to realize, and I keep taking people back to the favorite thing I like to use. This game wasn't unique in some of the vitriol and the hatred, right? We had, and don't forget, right? We had the infamous Puddlegate for Spider-Man. We had the infamous missing jump button in God of War. We had the
he can't jump.
Yeah, we had the infamous.
I'm hearing all this game of the year suffering. Keep going.
Exactly.
I'm hearing all this game of the year suffering you've been going through.
Exactly. Listen, man. I've been suffering. I've been. It's been hard.
All this greatness you've been having to endure.
You know what? Days gone. Oh, this is just another zombie game. I'm not into zombies. And you know what? All of these particular games, and I can keep going on and on. Horizon Zero Dawn. We can keep going on and on with all the hate, right? But those games have overcome the hate with the sales numbers, with the people changing their minds, saying, "No, I gave it some play. It's actually great." And I said the same thing was going to happen about Death Stranding. Now, here's the thing, right? You can hate Kojima, you can hate the name of the game, but you can't hate on the quality of the game. This game was created in 3 years. This game came out without any bugs, without any glitches, or any of that. And that's rare in this day and age. And we all can agree with that, right? Mm-hmm. So I tip my hat off to him. He created a game, right, that was something different. Now, let me read to y'all what I tweeted out when this whole shebang came out, right? Mm-hmm. But before this stuff blown up, I saw the tweet, and then I saw people in denial. That's all I saw, is a bunch of people in denial about the games that they play. And I'm like, wait. We cry every year because Madden is the same Madden. We cry every year because 2K is the same 2K. We cry every year for the last 2 decades that Call of Duty is the same Call of Duty. And yet we go out and these games are number one everywhere. I hate to say it, but these are the games that we purchased. These are the top games, and I'm going to read them. The Division 2, Destiny 2, Gears 5, PUBG, Fortnite, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Battlefront, Metro Exodus, Borderlands, Overwatch, Ghost Recon, Wolfenstein, Far Cry, Rage 2, Anthem, Apex Legends, Rainbow Six Siege, Doom, Control, Sniper Elite, Titanfall, and I can keep going. All of these are shooters.
Dude, bro.
All of these are dude, bro. I hate to say it. We are a dude, brother society. Shout out to the Kings at Microsoft. They created.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Wow. The Xbox, listen, I ain't gonna lie. When they dropped the OG Xbox, that recreated the genre. I know we had first-person shooters before, like GoldenEye and stuff like that, but Halo 1, the original Halo, Well, listen, Halo created the dude, bro. Right? Ever since that game dropped, that became the ultimate type of game that we would see for generations and generations and generations. And my hats off to them. They are the kings. They get all credit for that. But like I said, all these games I named, there's one thing in common. They're shooters.
Yes, sir.
And we are out here denying our favorite hobby and our favorite genre because Hideo Kojima insinuated that maybe some of the reviewers didn't really get the game because maybe those particular people are interested in more first-person shooters, which cannot be denied. How can we deny what we enjoy and support wholeheartedly every single year? I don't understand that.
I feel you. All I'm saying is, you are right when it comes to sales. When it comes to sales, I cannot deny everything you said is true. All I'm saying is, God of War won game of the year. All I'm saying is like the highest critic games that are reviewed. He's talking about reviews. The highest game, Witcher 3. Look at all these games that are reviewed high. They're generally not the dude roles in the Maddens.
But think about it this way, though, right?
Let's go. But all those
before God of War, before God of War 1.
Hold on, let me chime in real quick. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All those games that aren't shooters that usually get high reviews, all those games also contain some sort of action. And then the games that don't are usually specialty games, like the Eater Fitches of the world, or the Oxenfrees and stuff like that. So those games are usually smaller titles, something you could easily digest. You know what I mean? People can grasp what they're getting in a 2 to 4 hour span, and they can say they had a great experience. You got a game that's 50 to 70 hours, and it's a little bit more drawn out, doesn't have a whole bunch of action in it. People look at it different, and I think that's what the case was here. You know what I mean?
B, can I ask you something real quick? Because I think you and I are playing this game right now, and I kind of have a little perspective, and I think you probably do too. I almost kind of understand a little bit what he was getting at, having played this game now. Do you feel like that? Yeah. Like knowing, like, okay, I kind of get what he's saying, having played this game. It is. Look, I've enjoyed this game. Like this game, I can't stop thinking about it. It's crazy. Like I'm not going to get into it right now because it'll turn into a whole rant. But B, I think you probably feel the same way I do. I was pleasantly surprised by this game. It's not for everyone. I'll be the first to admit that it's not for everyone. But
you're Enrique. You got a super chat.
Oh shit. Okay, thank you, Slomo. Midway 7 Monster with the awesome $5 super chat says Gears 5 meta 84, user rating 8.5, Death Stranding 83, user rating 6.4. Explain why those they gave the $65 gave the $65 such a low rating. I take that with a grain of salt, Midway. You probably have people that are troll bombing the reviews too. You can't take the user reviews.
It's being review bombed both ways. It was getting 10s and 1s like as soon as it came out. Like you didn't play the game yet. Come on.
So but go ahead, B man. I'm sorry.
You got another super chat too.
Oh, got another one? Go ahead.
Did you read the previous one?
The previous one?
Yeah, the one from Glorious War. Yeah,
Glorious War.
Yeah, he got Glorious.
Okay.
Thanks, man. Go ahead, B.
Like you were saying, I was definitely pleasantly surprised with the game. You know what I mean? I'm in going in chapter 5 right now. And even when the comments came out, like everybody was like blowing up about it, even when, we were talking about it in the group chat, I'm just like, yo, I see everybody's offended by what Kojima said. And I just, it's like not that big a deal. I knew like something was going to be lost in translation. I was going to have to wait for the full translation to come out. And then, about what he was saying, even with him saying like the first person shooter thing, I more think that that's not really first person shooter and more of like action game, because when he first started talking about this game, like he kept trying to define it as its own genre, calling it a strand game or whatever. And he never really defined it as being like an action game. Like he tried to make like his own genre. And I think that's where, a lot of people are just like, what are you doing? You walk around just delivering packages, there's not really much to it. So you know, what I mean, I think people just got to get their hands on it. And,
Yeah, there's a
you know what
lot
I mean,
more.
think
There's a
about
lot going on to it more so than just that. Like, you know, once you get into the game, because I'm digging into. I'm not as far as you guys, but like you said, you know, you get into it, you start to go, okay, I kind of see where he's going with this. I kind of see what he's trying to do. But I've heard people say too, once you get to the, you know, to the middle to the end part of the game, it opens up into a whole different thing. And I mean, you know, I can give you anecdotal proof of people who weren't necessarily, who were very much on the fence. I was still, as a Kojima fan, still kind of on the fence. I was like, I don't know what I'm getting into, but I'm gonna go ahead and rock it because I'm a Kojima fan. I want to see what's going on, right? My podcast mate, Ray Fire, at all. He's not a Kojima guy. You know, he's like, I'm not a stan. I'm not a Kojima guy. Bought it off of Alcoholocaust recommendation. Picked the game up Friday. Dude is done with the game already.
Al, let me tell you something. Al has good taste. By
50 hours. He was done over the weekend.
Yeah.
He said he couldn't put it in. Yeah, I definitely go by a lot of what Al, you know, his barometer on games and stuff, right? But the point being is, like, you know, Jared and Nick both kind of said the same thing. It's like there's something in it that got them hooked, and they got it. And I see people, you know, with the thing like, oh, there's no gameplay, there's no this and that. So maybe it's kind of going back to what he's saying. Like, it's not the gameplay that you're looking for. Like, you're not immediately handed a sword or a weapon or whatever. You're not slashing this person, slashing that person. But there is a gameplay loop in there.
Right. It's, you know, it's hard for a lot of people to describe the type of game it is because when they saw the trailers, right, and when they see people playing it, all they see is just a guy walking. There's a lot of walking. And there is a lot of walking in the game. But they don't get the whole mechanics. They don't get the vibe and the feel for when you walk to a mountain, the edge of a mountain, and you overlooking the valley and that music kick in and do something to you. It's crazy. I can't describe this game, but man, it hooks you. It's something about it, man. It hooks you. And yes, there is a lot of action in this game. You just have to put in the time to let it unfold on you. Because again, this game could have easily just been a Division type game, and guess what? We would have, you know, we always cry and complain, people delivering the same stuff, but then we don't embrace when someone tries to offer us something different. This is why I think the indie games have picked up over the years, because gamers are actually looking for a distraction and a break besides the same every single, you know, October, November, we're getting a Star Wars, we're getting a COD or a Battlefield and the same stuff. And guys, let's face it, that's what we do. That's just us. That's just what we do. And we can't deny that because somebody else said it besides ourselves. And I saw a lot of people out there, oh, this is racism. He says Americans only play shooters. Well, look, listen, if it don't apply, let it fly. Let's face it, this guy has given us all the Metal Gear games. He's given us nothing but action shooters for over 30 years. And he delivered a game that's not that and try to do something different. And yet you discredit everything about him because it's something about this game that people just decide to hate.
I think the issue is this, though, Jay. It's like, I hear what you're saying. Like, at the end of the day, I'm never going to discourage anyone from originality. And you're making valid points. Like, we want to embrace people who are doing or attempting different things. But on the flip side, you got to respect people who say, hey, I've put in 10 to 14 hours or whatever it is, and I am bored. like we got to respect that. Like, we can't just say that these dudes just don't get it and they not on that level of depth with what he's saying. So again, I think there's still a sensitivity that he has. I think like he put all his energy into this game. And in his mind, no one could tell him this is not a masterpiece. I feel him as a creator. I feel that. But you got to understand, sometimes, you know what I'm saying, not everybody's going to feel it. It's not about that just on their region or where they are. Some people are going to say, yo, this is not for me. And I'll be honest with y'all, like, I was all in. I think the Decimate engine, when I first saw it, the cutscenes, I'm like, I'm in for this, right? But I can't lie. When Tokyo Game Show happened and I started to see more of the gameplay loop, that didn't appeal to me. I will eventually probably get it when it's on sale. But right now, it's just like I'm looking at it. I'm speaking to a lot of people I trust. I've been really paying attention to it. You know what I'm saying? It's just something not capturing me. But it doesn't mean it's not a fun game. It doesn't mean that y'all not having fun. I'm not disrespecting anybody who's saying, yo, I'm feeling. I see Warrior on my timeline turning up. He's like, yo, I'm doing my stealth. Y'all thinking, you know, it's more to this game than y'all, you know what it is. It's just that he has to understand, like, yo, 84, 85, that's still good, bro. Like,
Yes.
like, That's fire. Like I just think that he wanted this hands down on a God of War level. You know what I'm saying?
He got caught up in the fanboy stuff too with the Metacritic.
Yeah, like I'm like, fam, you spit your bars. People love this game. There's still, despite all the hate this game got, and let's be real, it's a very polarizing game. 84 is a strong score. Right. Let's not act like this is, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, so he just gotta, pull it back a little bit.
You're right.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
Go for it.
And you guys are having a very illuminating, very, very, very great conversation right now. But as you guys were talking, I was just on Metacritic.
Mm-hmm.
I just decided to go to the game section, and then go to best games, and then by year.
Yes, sir. I'm looking at it too.
So yeah, very interesting. Isn't it illuminating, right?
Yeah,
So like this topic began about shooters, first-person shooters, and reviews. And I know it's expanded to, very, offshoots about action games and how Americans, what we play and what we play more of, and what's the top selling games, what's the most played games. And, those are very, very interesting offshoots of the conversation. But the crux of what Kojima was talking about was a perhaps, a maybe, an insinuation that maybe his game was not reviewed as high in the United States because they like first-person shooters. Now, back in I went back to 2017. The highest rated game on Metacritic in 2017 is Wolfenstein: The New Colossus at number 23. In 2018, the highest rated first-person shooter in 2018 is Destiny Forsaken at well past 50. I apologize. As y'all were talking, they ain't no numbers, so I miscounted, but it was well over 50 before I miscounted. Okay, it's well down the list. This year, it's what was it this year? I forgot what it is already, but it was somewhere in the 19s to the 20s of this year.
Right.
It is a open and shut case in regards to his comment. His comment was perhaps, maybe it wasn't reviewed as well because of first-person shooters. First off, he would need to actually know every single person who gave him a negative review from every single publication, look up all their other reviews, see if they rated other first-person shooters higher than his game to even make that assumption to be anywhere near accurate. We know he didn't do all that. It was an off-the-cuff comment.
Enrique.
Yeah.
Okay. If you can read exactly what the article said that Kojima said, and you realize we're all of this huffing and puffing, right? It's over insinuations on stuff that he did not say. It was taken a certain way, but only because you decided to put it that way. But
okay, so what did he say? What did he say?
Read his words word by word.
I got him right here. I can read the current accurate translation.
He said perhaps though. Can we assume?
Why are we capping? Why are we capping for Kojima though? I gotta start causing trouble. I gotta cause trouble.
Look. If I said perhaps Forte right now is at a strip club.
Let's get it.
Yes. If I said that, would I be accurate? Would Forte come in the chat and be like, slow-mo, shut your ass up? I'm not at a strip club. I'm at work or I'm at home with my family.
That's not the same thing.
How is it not the same? I said perhaps, and then I said
let me ask
something
something.
I did not know. Wait. I said perhaps, and then I said something that I did not know any facts for. I did not do any research for. I just said perhaps in a statement, and that statement was complete nonsense.
Are you saying that he doesn't know the gaming market? He's been making games for 30 years plus? That he doesn't understand?
Dude, I just went down the list. His statement is wrong.
He's
saying perhaps does not change the fact that you made a statement.
But he's talking.
He never, in his words,
He never mentioned the word review one time. He said my insinuation of what he said was
yes, he did actually.
Listen.
In the very beginning. No,
He did kind of say reviews though. In the first
I
sentence.
must
Can
say
you
that the
please read
game
this
has
word?
received some enthusiastic reviews
did
above
say
all
reviews.
in Europe and Japan. Here
Yeah,
in
he
the
did
US,
say first sentence.
Chris, if he said reviews, he was talking about reviews.
I took it. I'm gonna tell you again. It was back to my insinuation.
Y'all hit capping.
I said my insinuation of what he said, based on people understanding that game. Because I'm not gonna lie, when you first start the game, probably the first 5 to 6 hours, you're not going to understand what's going on until it's broken down to you little by little. You're going to have to go through that journey. This whole game is about a journey.
It is about a journey, yeah.
That's what it's about. And if you don't put that time, now let's back up, right? Let's back up. If you forget about Kojima, you forget about Death Stranding, and you just say, "Hey, I built a brand new game. It's a new game that I don't think it's been done before, but I'm going to try to create this game. I'm going to drop this game. It's going to be good, but you're going to have to play at least 5 to 10 hours to start understanding the game before you even know what that game is." How many people on the panel will probably be interested in that? Probably not many.
Right.
Because you telling me I got to put in 10 hours just to understand the game? Nah, that's trash. I'm not going to do that. So his idea of creating this game was already controversial before he even made the game, right? And who knows? A year, 2 years down the line, maybe we may look back and be like, this guy was a genius, because it spawned a whole new genre of games that, I'm not going to spoil the game for anybody,
Right.
but it allows you to do some of the things in the game and work together as a community to do things that has never been done before in the game. So we don't know. Only time will tell.
Right.
We can all say the game was rated very well. Only in modern day times does a middle 80 game become trashed. Only in modern times in this console war.
Right, I do agree with that. There's nothing wrong with an 83 rated game, and I'll even say
I gotta pay the bills real quick. So
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so big shout out to Show One with the $1.99 super chat. Says everyone says this show is the hotness, so I sub. Sir, thank you for the sub, man. We appreciate it.
I salute you, sir.
Salute.
This show is the hotness. You are at the right place, bruh. But I do.
You're stupid.
That had to be E.
Jay, I do agree. I don't know where this whole thing kind of started a little while ago, but we really started to see it with Gears 5. When Gears 5 started out at like an 85, and people was like, LOL, and I'm like, what?
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I admit, right? I may have been.
You may have threw some shots. That's what you said.
I may have started that. I admit it, right? Listen, it's the end of the generation, right? We're in the last year. We just having fun, but I didn't think this was going to continue. You
know this smoke was coming for you when this dropped.
You can't
know they was coming.
Start nothing and think it won't continue. Come on,
They
man.
was waiting for that 80. They was like, wait until we see him.
Jay, he lives right on the corner.
Jay, only you can prevent forest fires. You know
And
that.
think about it, Xbox community had to deal with them damn battle toad emojis you be doing. That's so disrespectful, Jay. Disrespectful.
I'm like, Jay,
That's saying 10 frames per second.
Oh, he be doing that battle toad. I'll be sick. He be having me feel away.
Look, it's expanding now. We even saw it today when Pokemon now, Pokemon Shield is down to 81, and people are like, LOL, and I'm like, yo, 81's a good score. Like, what's happening here?
Now, here's the thing, Slow Mo. I want to say this and I'll shut up, right? It's ironic that now 80s are trash.
Yeah.
But if we rewind back about a year or two and we had Sea of Thieves, I believe that was the first game, right? That got like the 68, 69.
Yeah, 69, I think.
And everybody was saying, I'm having fun with my friends. This is a new
That's true. He onto something. He onto something with that.
You gotta create your own fun. And I'm like, okay, is that what we doing now? Okay, cool. I get it. And then turn around. And then guess what? The next year, Crackdown come out. It's
Hey,
I'm having fun with it. Me and my friends are having fun. That's all that matters.
Jay, you know what?
Jay turned up like Nino Brown. It's bigger than Nino Brown.
Exactly.
Yo, you pulling out the receipt too.
Jay, you know what, man? I was about to say that. Like, this is the generation where 80s are bad, but somehow 60s are good. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, what? How do we
That's a you problem.
I will say this. I do want to say something because I saw a lot of. I said this earlier. People were calling him racist, calling him arrogant. You know, saying he's conceited. He's he's stuck on himself. This and that. You know, it's interesting. Like, people are really like. There's people legit. I think angry about this. I think maybe some other people were trolling, but I'll say this much. And I'm not big on the whole. I need that same energy movement. That's just not me. But I will say this. Where's that same energy when Randy Pitchford's out there punching his employees? Stealing money. Where's that same energy when a VP at Rockstar is sexually harassing another male coworker? Where's that same energy when who the folks getting behind what's his face? Quantic Dream.
David Cage.
You know, they're putting out racist stuff.
The stuff he's doing.
Yeah, like come on, like, can we just that's the kind, like, so for me, that's the kind of stuff that people should get worked up about when people
that's what we talked about in
wrong. People are being wrong. People in the industry are being wrong.
We turn a blind eye to that. You feel what I'm saying? We turn a blind eye to that.
That was my point the other day. I said, I noticed it's like people get more heated over this than some of those other things. And like Slow-Mo and I talked about that. And Slow-Mo, he kept that energy about it. But I said it's a handful. Like
man. I'm tired of being by myself. Like,
I got you, baby. I'm in there with you. I'm riding.
The only one complaining about Pitchford online, man. All alone.
But it is true. It's kind of funny, what people get up out the bed for.
Sure.
So
we have to watch it, though. We have to watch what we do, what we say. And only within the last couple of weeks have I realized that is because something small, right, could turn into a fire, and that trend can continue. And I don't want that to continue. I tell everybody, look, man, I'm a self-proclaimed
Battletoads.
But I'm just saying, listen, I'm a self-proclaimed troll. I put that out there. Folks know what I do. I'm gonna do what I do. But at the same time, I still go out and support Microsoft. I still go out and support Nintendo.
Yeah, you buy the game.
Go out and do that, right? But so it's supposed to be fun, right? And like me and Cognito go at it, me and David go at that. Like that's what we do as gamers. We can do that knowing that this person is finna go drop the same money bag to get that same game. But a lot of the people, and that's I kind of shut it down on Twitter sometimes when I see some of my followers take what I say as serious and go and attack another person. And I'm like, no, this is my brother. We having fun. We joking. He's a great guy. I'm a great guy. We just joking. Don't ever think that this stuff is real, man. This is for your entertainment, for you to laugh and keep it pushing.
Fact.
But I also don't want Twitter to get stale where people are walking on eggshells to have fun because that's what gaming is. It's supposed to be having fun, chilling with your boys. Look, we're on the podcast right now and people are talking to us in the chat and stuff like that. That's what this is about. It's about gaming and having fun. But I don't like people seeing it in a different light and trying to I don't want them to turn gaming into something where it's a big turn off. Because I can see some people like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to game anymore because this is just too stressful. Those are people who take this stuff too seriously.
Once you make a great point, Jay, because at the end of the day, it's like we all on the same team. We pick up that controller, you my brother, off ties because we in that same joint. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, where we just we have fun, we bug out. It's like sports teams, right? We bug out with it. But at the end of the day, as long as we keep that respect line, right, between each other, and we're not disrespecting each other personally and attacking, our followers attacking the other followers, that's what we just got to chill out. Just we tell a lot of our guys, like, hey, stand down. Let's not take it there. Let's not be in any type of disrespectful fashion because we gamers. That's all we doing. That's all we love. That's what that's the common bond that's going to unite us regardless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's facts. I got to pay the bills real quick. Hold on a second, Slow-Mo. iDizzy with the awesome $2 super chat. Says just sliding a little swoon over the super chat. Thank you, sir.
Woo! Diz.
Hey, Diz, that's my brother, man.
You already
Always
know.
got his back on Twitter, man.
Shout out Dizzy, man.
Always
shout
pull
out.
up. So shout out to Dizzy,
Yeah,
man.
big
Shout out to Diz.
Dizzy.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah, I was just going to
one more
say,
super chat, Slobo. Hold on, one more.
There's
We got,
another one? Okay.
Yep, Midway 7 Monster, $2 super chat. Thank you, sir. Says, do you believe reviewers are harsher now? It's a good question.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
so. I don't. We don't.
Yes.
There was a time I think last console generation. I remember even at the OG Xbox days and PS2 days. Game. I saw more 10s than I do now.
Yeah, I think it's harder to
I
wow
agree.
people now. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who kind of I think started that way? Polygon. Polygon used to give some like it was
Listen,
hard to get like a high score.
I got
you know what
proof. I got proof, and let me show you the proof. Right? Take a game like Gears 5.
Mhm.
It superseded every single metrics than what Gears 4 did, and it still got the same score. So
Right,
you're
right.
telling me, right, with all the updated graphics,
Yeah.
with all the updated story, the new mechanics, just
Mhm.
the skiffing, the going inside of the little Titan shooting this. You mean to tell me with all of this at 60 frames, you know, and just a better everything, you mean to tell me to all of these reviewers it was equivalent to Gears 4? That I'm not gonna lie. If I was a developer and I see that, that can be disheartening to me, and that can make me not want to try, because there's some Joe Blow out there that's giving his game half-ass effort.
Yeah.
Pardon my language.
Mhm.
And his games, you know, some little indie game end up getting, you know, 98 Metacritic, and this guy done shoved $100 million into his game
Right.
with all the passion, love, sweat, and tears,
Mhm.
and they're rating his game on a different level because of what it means to them. I think that is unfair. I really do.
You know what, Jay? I think part of I think the hard part with Gears 5. I think had that game been Gears 4, like that game would have scored. Gears 4 would have scored higher. Does that make sense? Like if they had done with taking the formula with Gears 5 and incorporated that Gears 4, Gears 4 would have been a much higher score. I think the fact that Gears 5 had released so soon after Gears 4, and then now you're releasing towards the end of the console generation. And look, I don't know if you guys know this, but towards the end of the generation, reviewers start really getting like being a little more critical with games, because there have been so many games that come out before.
Is that right though? It's like they're taking, they seem to be putting into effect all these other elements other than just reviewing the game. Oh, it's at the end of the gen. Oh, well, the previous game I wasn't so impressed with. I'm like, what does that have to do with this game?
Remember when you-
It's like
remember when you dated a
review
girl
the
for the
game
first
that's
time?
in front of you. Like I remember seeing a Division 2 review earlier this year. And some of you guys may remember me talk about this, where the guy was clearly like upset at a comment in the narration that was done in the very beginning of the game.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, when they said, well, like, you know, about how the entire world went down after the plague spread. It was like, and these people didn't have guns, and he got triggered so hard. His entire review, he was just talking about Fox News, and I'm like, why are you talking about Tucker Carlson? He's not in the game. You mentioned him more times than anything that has happened in this game. He gave it a 40. I'm like, what?
You know what, man? These people are human too, man, and I think that sometimes that human element kicks in.
Yeah, I say it's that human element that kicks in, and people don't know when to disengage their personal feelings from, I need to make a review of a game, whether I like this game or not. And then there's so many more games coming out now. You hear about how these reviewers, I gotta get this game out, I gotta get this review out in a certain time period. I got a review copy, and I don't have enough time, and my editor is like, you need to get it out so that we get the most clicks and the most views on this.
Real talk right there.
Right before, right when the game is coming out, because that's when the most people are going to view it.
Publishers PR will
got
come at you
people
too.
rushing.
The publisher PR will press you. Yeah, facts, bro.
Yeah.
You got people.
They be like, yo, we sent you that. What's up? It's been 2 days.
I mean, you got people making stuff up. You can tell once you play the game and you look at the review, you didn't play that mode. Because if you had played that mode, you wouldn't have said nothing has changed in horde mode.
Yep.
They completely changed horde mode.
Valid point. You notice we get sometimes just campaign reviews on certain things, and that even if there's something that has additional modes, you won't get the extent of that because again, a lot of these guys got deadline. That's real talk, Slow. I agree.
Okay, there's two things to remedy that, right? Do they give and shout out to Kojima for doing that, right?
Hey, real quick, guys. I do want to wrap up this topic though, because I want to get to getting almost 10:30. I want to get to the next topic. So
he gave the review copies out, I think, 2 weeks ahead of time.
Right.
And so that gave everybody the time to play the game and to beat the game. Do you think reviewers should do that?
I think so.
Or be in a crunch and then here post some stuff.
I think so. I think that crunch culture is can have a negative effect because a lot of people sometimes just want to push through. And if you're in this push through kind of crunch mentality,
you're not going to enjoy it.
You're not going to enjoy it. And how much, how really are you going to give your all to every aspect of the game? So, yeah, I agree with that. I think there should be a week to 2 weeks of time, especially with types of games like that and the MMOs and all that stuff that require that level of time. I agree.
But, and a lot of times when they play with in the crunch style mode, they play the game on easy, so they're just running through the game anyway. So they're not giving you a great opinion on that actual gameplay of the game.
And then they say, well, it wasn't much of a challenge. I'm like, could you played it on super rookie mode,
or they get stuck and it's too hard,
right?
Yeah, that's and the other thing too is a lot of there aren't as many reviewers, I think, and I heard this from somebody who does reviews as there used to be. So a lot of the times people they're under multiple deadlines. Reviewing 3 games, 2-3 games at a time.
A lot of games, man. A lot of games out.
It's like so. No rushing to chess. That's why gaming journalism is a joke. I don't agree with that, but my thoughts on that. I'm not gonna get you.
It's a bell curve. It's a bell curve. You got some on the small end who just want to get clicks, and they'll say whatever to get some traffic to their site. And you got some on the other end who put their heart and soul into their review, and really will never give a score that they feel like they can't actually co-sign and say this is how I honestly feel. Yes. And then you got the people in the middle that just I gotta get this done.
Yep, that's a good point. All right, gentlemen, I do want to get to the next topic because X019 is tomorrow, and we talked a little bit about this last week on BRAP, and talked about this on Boob Show on Monday. Cog, I think you and I shared about what we need to see, what we want to see, but it sounds like this show might be something that we all want to tune into. According to our buddy Z Huge, actually Z Huge has been on the show, believe it or not.
Salute.
Yeah, good dude, man. He's funny. Z Huge said that X019 is worth watching tomorrow if you're a fan of Xbox Game Studios. Tweeted this out. So the event will have solid 2020 release dates for Xbox Game Studio games like Bleeding Edge, Minecraft Dungeons, and Wasteland 3. Here's the big one though: new IP from Obsidian and Rare. Wow. Now
let's go.
Now. I want to go real quick. I want to go to I want to go to you, J-Dub, first, because you have been very vocal about Microsoft.
Here we go.
Lack of first party, sir. What are your thoughts? Are you excited?
Listen, okay. So I have learned, right, over the last 7 years to not expect a lot. I'm not, to have my expectations in check. I do know that this is the end of the generation. I do know that Microsoft is going to save, 99.9% of what they got coming for E3 because that is going to be the threshold and the push off of their Scarlet console in the fall of next year. So I don't expect them to come out and show us all the stuff that they're going to have. Rare, I don't know, man. It could be something new. It could be a Killer Instinct 2, or it could be something like Super Lucky's Tale 2. I don't know, but I'm hoping and praying, right, that it is something that's going to launch soon that gives us some time to play, before E3. But I hope it turns out good. I hope it turns out better than the last, the last couple of them. But I'm gonna be positive about it. I'm gonna wait and see, and I'm gonna watch it.
Hey, Jay, I want to know your opinion on this because there's a second leak that came out after that first leak.
Yes.
And the second leak said that Rare's new IP is a third-person perspective adventure game.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you this.
I don't want no Battletoads smoke.
Wait, no, listen. if Phil handed over Fable to Rare, right?
Yeah.
No.
That could
be a new IP though.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be a new IP, right? If it's nothing in their catalog, then none of us know. None of us can guess what that is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Everybody's, I've been thinking, where is this Fable? We've been waiting for Fable. We know it's coming, but who's making it? Like, give us a hint. Let us know something about this game. I know Phil said that he ended up doing Flight Simulator instead of Fable, which I think
Phil did that for us, by the way.
Oh man!
If he would have did the reverse roles at E3, they would have done their thing, and that was the biggest disappointment from E3 on that. Don't tell me you're more excited for what you didn't show me than what I just watched. This is the Super Bowl. You had to stay to yourself, man. You got to bring those guns.
Facts.
And we can do it. So now
Phil
I'm
did
in that E3 mode. You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna stop that Phil Dominant slander, Brad. I heard you, Brad.
I got
I got a rep for my man. My man ain't here, but I got a rep for
you. I got to. That video that he put out on Twitter today.
Right?
Big shout out to Lord King.
Shout out to King.
Yeah, shout out to King.
Well, I'm gonna do a shameless plug of my latest video of 7 potential games that we may see at X019. And I did talk about Fable because the rumor is that Playground Games is making Fable, and I've always kind of looked at, like, you kind of notice, like, when there are big rumors out there and there are lasting rumors, and when they never get addressed, like, there's like, when there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
Like, cause usually if someone says, oh, Microsoft is about to buy so and so, like when we heard that about was it Platonic?
Yes.
Yeah, and that got shut down the same day. They was like, no, they ain't buy us. We good. And it's like, so it's like usually that stuff gets shut down pretty quickly. But then when this rumor about Fable has been going on since January 2018. And Playground won't say what they're making. We know they're making an RPG, an action RPG. Fable's an action RPG, and Microsoft won't say what they're making. It's like, come on, bro. Like, it's like we know what's up. We know what's up.
The bigger question, though, Somo. The bigger thing is, right? It doesn't matter who makes it, as long as that game does not come out looking like Battletoads with that.
You know what? Jay, we on the same page. When I first saw Battletoads, I was like, what is that? My son make that? Did my son make that in MS Paint? What is happening here? Like, look, man, when I saw it in motion, when I saw the actual gameplay,
I'm sorry, man. I saw that.
I was like, yo, am I having like a browser game? What we doing? Why is this moving so slow?
Cartoon Network Battletoads.
Look, man, I got mad. The fans was clamoring for it. Phil came through. Listen, man, y'all get mad when he don't listen, and he listened this time. He gave y'all some.
Look, and this is my
that was a high school
part. This is where I'm like concerned, because it's like we wanting new IP, right? And so Rare's making a new IP, a third-person perspective adventure game. Yay! But there's like, but what is it though? Like, it's like, don't give me Sea of Thieves third-person action adventure game. I don't want that. I like, give me some fire. Like, now I'm glad you making new IP. Now make good new IP is what I'm looking for now. So it's like you complete the first part. Let's go to stage 2, quality. But before it was no games whatsoever. Now I want quality games. Don't just give me some like some stuff. And I also kind of feel like the Rare rumor might not be true, and here's why. Because they also said that the Rare game is several years from being released. And I'm like, we already know how Phil is. He don't ever since Fable Legends and Scalebound Backlash, he does not like to show games that are not 12 to 18 months from launch. If this game is several years from being released, would they really show that now? Like, I'm not saying the game not in development, but we probably, if it's really several years from being released, we're probably not going to see it tomorrow.
They should do something though. Like I said on Boom,
they should.
They've
Because you got to build up hype.
This game has been worked on for a while now, and I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out in early 2021.
So you think? Okay, all right.
And I know that for a fact.
All right, I hope that I hope they show it, and I hope it's awesome because I'm ready for something, but I'm probably more excited about the Obsidian game because Obsidian just dropped the Fire game. I just finished it, enjoyed the hell of it. Probably the second best game I played this year, behind Fire Emblem Three Houses, and game of the year. Better be.
That's Death Stranding.
Oh,
you know what? No, we not going. Enrique trying to derail the conversation. But like, yeah, this RPG, that's all Obsidian does. And me and Enrique had an interesting conversation. Enrique brought up how this might be like that canceled game that they were making for
MMO Light or something that they're working on.
Yeah, it was called Stormlands. Yep. It was really, really ambitious. But it was impossible to do in 2013. Yep. It was impossible for that kind of game. 50-player raids in 2013 on an Xbox One. Your Xbox One would melt on your dresser. Like, there's just no way that was going to run. But today, on a Scarlet in 2020, maybe that kind of game can run. When you got xCloud finally running. I mean, back then they were trying to do that on the cloud. They were trying to use Connect to do like your to map your face and make that your character. They had all kinds of ambitious stuff. Yeah. And then they canceled it because they couldn't do any of that crap. Now, half of that stuff probably can get done. So maybe it is Stormlands come back. I mean, it's the same dev. They got all the same assets that they were working on before it got canceled. Why not bring it back? So who knows?
Yeah. Hey, real quick, guys, I want to give a big shout out to Gaming Forte. What's up, Forte? Woo! You can hear us, Forte.
Forte in the building.
He's in the chat, but he's not.
I'm right here. You hear me?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. What's up, Forte?
I was muted.
No worries, man. No worries.
What's up,
I'm just listening to all this whatever this is going back.
We'll get to Forte. I do want to get to our other guest, Lord Cognito. What are your thoughts, man, about this new rare IP in Obsidian?
Look, man, Brad, you know how this plays, and I'm a very optimistic guy, but at the same time, I'm a realist. And listen, they're saying the right things as far as how big it's supposed to be. We do know the amount of big names and from the Xbox and stuff that's going to be there. So we're expecting a lot. I temper expectations. Let's just keep it cool. Yep. I do think that we're gonna get, for most of the IPs we know about that all from the studios, we're probably gonna get release dates. I'm pretty confident in that. At the end of the day, I'm hearing no Scarlet mention. Nope. I'm hearing that going around, which I expected. The Lords disagreed with me last Sunday, but I was like, I don't think we're getting that. I think they're saving that for a specific reveal event. Possibly at the top of 2020. Yep. But I think all they need to do is, again, give the hard and fast release dates. We're gonna get xCloud information, probably a data when they're thinking about doing that. As obviously a lot of us are in the public beta and all that stuff.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man.
Bro. 4G cellular. It's amazing what's being happening right now. Me and you have been talking about that, Brad. But the thing right now. They need to definitely show, at least 2 IPs that they're working on from a couple of these studios, whether it be Obsidian, whose name they said would have a big presence there. And when you looked at their lineup, they didn't mention their specific game because we know Outer Worlds is out. So there's a possibility that could be something. If Rare is doing something, great. But they have to show something, what I'm saying, that we didn't know. And the only thing I'm worried about, Brad, I hope Age of Empires ain't it. Like, no disrespect to the Age of Empires guys, because a shout out to my boy Def Singer, he's hype. I'm just saying, I don't think that's going to get the masses galvanized if that's the secret stealth drop.
No. That's exactly what they gonna do.
Exactly. You know how it is, EJ. That's why I keep my expectations in check, because J-Dub's making a lot of good points. Like, at the end of the day, Phil is still sticking to the script as far as we ain't showing that far out. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna, E3 is when they gonna show out, supposedly, right? Because they have to. At that point, they have to. The system is coming. So if we get one or two nuggets, things they're working on, if we get that little Fable JPEG, like I said, that'd be great. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna get too crazy. At the end of the day, it's still inside Xbox. And y'all know how I feel about inside Xbox. So, I mean, that's it, man. I'm just trying to keep my expectations in check.
No doubt, man. I want to go to you, man. Since you chimed in about the Age of Empires, man. What are your thoughts, man?
No, I'm right in that line with Cognito. I always temper expectations, and I see it. Like, every time we get into one of these things, it happens the same way. Weeks that way, people are like, yeah, temper expectations, man. It's just, we just got to see what it's going to be. Temper. And all of a sudden, you get the insiders that start to, like, throw some chum in the water, and it's like, oh, it's about to be fire and lit. And they about to, Santa Claus going to come on stage with a whole bunch of them. I heard Oprah going to be there giving out, Taco Bell Xboxes and stuff. No. Keep it like Kyle said.
Popeye's chicken sandwich.
You slow, you stupid.
Hey, you can't go to Popeyes anymore. Slow mo in the DMV.
One per person.
Can I ask this question?
Yeah.
It may be messy, but I'm just going to ask this question.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
That means it is messy. Come on.
Why is it? And I'm speaking on the behalf of the PlayStation Nation.
Here we go.
Boy. When we got our games dropping, right, we finna make that mug to Matt or an event or something like that. We don't have low expectations. We don't that something's gonna happen. We get some PS5 news. We finna get some that, like, our expectation for Sony is, like, for example, it was a tweet went out earlier today saying, why do I have a feeling that Sony is finna drop some major news right there on the doorstep of Microsoft event? Sony has been petty like this whole generation.
Facts.
They're going to.
So, but the expectation, I mean, what I'm trying to say is the expectation for Sony and their fans. Exactly. They bought Insomniac. I mean, right there in front of. Like,
that's because the shows they normally would do this year or the last year that would people have low expectations, they canceled. They didn't do an XO. They didn't do a PlayStation experience this year. They didn't do a E3 this year. So the things that people would have had high expectations or no expectations for, they didn't do them. So,
but you're even making my point for me, right? Because they didn't show up to those events, and they still had hot news and got all of the press over the competition by not even showing up. So imagine when they do have their event, right? Supposedly in February. But the goal I was trying to say is, why is it the expectations for PlayStation and their base so high? But when you talk about Microsoft, everyone is always, no, don't expect too much. It's like don't. And it's like should we hold still in everybody else?
Nobody was expecting anything from PlayStation halfway through last generation until they turned it around. Right now, people are just tired of listening, waiting for Microsoft to do something, and we just want them to do it. We're just at that point now. I mean,
we've been doing that for 6.
Okay, well, we didn't worry about that last year because Microsoft dropped bomb after bomb after bomb last generation, and we didn't have to worry about all that. This year, the next screwed them through half the year. They thought they had a gold mine, and all of a sudden they messed up their identity all the way through the beginning of this generation, and they've been playing catch up with that ever since. So we completely righted the ship. They doubled down on games, what they should have did from the get-go, and Microsoft was worried about TV and NFL Network, and that was the problem.
But that actually says what Jay's point is that it's been an entire generation of disappointment, and that's why when you come out how many times have they hyped up their shows only to You know,
Oh, I agree
not
with
do
that.
anything.
Best lineup
Like
ever.
XO18 was
Facts.
the same thing. So it's
X
like
seems to be the
people,
biggest
I
event.
agree.
Yeah.
yeah, like people
biggest
are like,
event, games, and then we got there and we was like, yo, what
yeah, it was a lot
I
of
agree,
multi-plat.
100%.
The last part to your point that I wanted to point was Nintendo came out with the Wii U, dropped it like a bad habit within 2 to 3 years, started over, all with pretty much in the same generation, and they were able to make that comeback in that transition. Sony was able to do that last generation within 3 years, make that transition to pull over. Well, Microsoft has had the similar amount of time, and the fans are just waiting to see that gleaming light, and that has yet to come. And so, if Microsoft would have dropped some bombs right at E3 or even at X018, this is their chance. Drop some bombs, and that gives you momentum going into E3 next year and going into Scarlet. But if you drop the ball now, that's less momentum you're gonna have at E3, less expectation. And I hate to say it, but when gamers have lower expectations, they tend to not go out and buy because of that.
I understand where you're coming from. Oh, go ahead, Forte. I didn't know you.
No, I said I agree with that. The biggest thing, my biggest problem with Microsoft over this generation is it didn't start this generation. It started back in 2011, 2010 when they stopped making first party games for Xbox. When they literally said we're packing it in for that generation and we're gonna basically double down on what's happening in the next generation. And guess what? The first 3-4 years of this generation, what did we really get from that? Nothing.
Right.
Nothing that was Microsoft's homebred Microsoft stuff. And that's the problem. They stuck with the same tried and true formula of Halo, Forza, and Gears, and people got tired of that. And that
buying other people's IPs.
And that was the big. They stopped investing in the IPs and the third party. That's how Call of Duty ended up only being here for the first year of the generation. Then they switched over to PlayStation. Let's not be twisted on it. That was a really big pivot that happened at the beginning of the generation.
Forte, I got a quick question
and then
for you,
just
man.
a whole bunch of other stuff just happened with the system.
Yeah, Forte, quick question for you, man. Have you heard anything about Call of Duty being on the Xbox next gen? Somebody,
you mean the marketing?
Yeah, I heard some rumor about that.
Yeah, like somebody at GameStop actually said that to me. Like one of the managers said that to me, so I wasn't sure if like you
don't listen to nothing about that.
Okay. I was like, I wonder.
You think as much as I have sat in offices with people from Activision, and trust me, we're too low level to know that type of information.
All right, no, that's why I was asking, man, because I was like, wait a minute, that's okay. So
would be nice, but that's the biggest thing with them, though. It's like they allow the generation to slip away from them one year after year, and it didn't start in 2013. It started in freaking 2010 when they stopped investing in their own platform.
Well, I think to counter that, I think they actually doubled down and invested in on the platform. And when you look at 2013 and through 2015, that's when they spent the most money on games. And when you look at the end of the generation for PlayStation, what they did with the PS3 was ensure that there were games all the way until the end of the generation. And when they started the PS4 generation, there were no games to play. So that they got all their investment off of the previous generation and locking those people in with the hope that games would be there in the PS4 generation. Whereas Microsoft stopped making games at the end of the generation, and then in 2013 they had all these different IPs to play, but nobody gave a damn. So, you know what I mean? All that money was wasted.
But that hope, it's all about that hope. The hope from last generation that 360 was going to continue to dominate this generation. That was that hope. The same thing where when the PS3 finished off the generation with Gran Turismo 6 and The Last of Us, that hope that, okay, this is going to be even better for PS4. And then it's that same, right? Everybody and their mama are hyped for PS5. I don't care who you are. You're going to be out there buying the PS5 day one because they already sold it on you based on this generation in the games and the sequels to come. It's that confidence, right? Now, Sony could go out and bomb it. They could go out there with a high price tag. The system could be whack. It could be, it's a million things could happen. But most gamers are hyped based on that last year and that momentum and the fun that they had in that generation. So, again, I hope X018 knock it out the park. It gets us back Ryan saying, okay, now we can see that light. We can see the light. Now I'll be willing to give them a chance. Now I'll be, but if we don't see that, right, people are going to go ahead and turn their head and just move on with their everyday lives. And that is not a good thing. That's not.
But I hear you. Let me jump in, Jay. You're making great points, and I think what you're saying has been my frustration with Phil personally. And Brad, we've talked about it, right? We just want that glimmer of hope, right? You want that something that you're working on in the future that's going to get the basic side. That's what Sony does, and that's what Nintendo does so well. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the thing is, it's a philosophy thing, because with him, again, this is what I can only go by what I see Phil doing the last couple of shows, right? They like Slow Mo said, they seem hell bent ever since the Scalebound and the other Fabled Legend situation to not show stuff ahead of time, right? I don't necessarily agree with that. I think this is the time you do it, right? I think you need to do it. You need to you lost this generation. You need to get people back on your side. You need to get them hype. Now, here's the thing, though. I will say this in his defense. He's been fixing a lot of the mess prior, right? I'll give him that. Like, he inherited a mess. You know what I'm saying? The messaging was stupid. The Kinect was in the box. It was expensive. TV. The list goes on, right? He's done a good job turning it around as far as the brand and now the service thing. Cool. Now, all we're saying is when that Xbox Scarlet drops, you've got to have bangers. You've got to have people excited about this. Otherwise, people, like Jay said, and like Brad, me and you've talked, is they're going to stay inside the PlayStation ecosystem. Yeah. They're not going to want to look. So you show the games, to get the respect and get people hype. He could be sitting on bombs that we don't know about. But if you just feed us a little bit, just give us a little hint, we'll be good. Everybody gonna shut up. Yo, they doing it. Oh, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's got to do. And that's why I do agree with you guys that's been my biggest problem with him. At this point, this generation is lost. This was the generation not to lose, and you lost it. So now you have to get in there, get the troops hyped up, show that Fable if you need to show it. You know what I'm saying? But the vibe is with him, he tends to be like, yo, I'm going to wait till E3 and do it. It better be banging at that point. That's all I'm saying. If you're making us wait all that, it better be what it is. That's all I'm saying.
And it's so much harder now because now we're going into the digital age where people have way more investment in an ecosystem than they did previously. Previously, it was very easy to choose. Well, for a lot of these gamers that I only get one console and that's it. I'm not buying the other one.
Facts.
Hey, I'm looking at next gen like, all right, who do I want? But because you don't carry your games over, but now you're carrying your games over. Backwards compatibility is a necessity, not a feature. So now PlayStation has that.
Yes,
you gotta find a way to snatch those people to give them like, wow, that game is so fire that I'm going to go ahead and forego my whole entire library over here for a while.
That ain't gonna happen.
But here's the thing: is that if they had a fire game, a game that's like a Last of Us 2 level game. You can do that.
You can do it. Games do it. Games do it, though, Forte. You don't think so? Talk to me.
I'm going to tell you exactly. Look, this is what's going to happen.
Talk to me.
2000. Okay, what happened last generation? 85, 86, 85, 84 million Xbox 360 sold, 87, 88,000 PlayStation 4 3 sold. You know what happened last generation? People had both systems. There was a reason to own both because the ecosystem was so different across both systems.
But they didn't buy both at the same time.
They didn't buy both at the same time. But what I'm saying is,
and then they bought another one years later.
PlayStation is going to sell. We've been saying this for a while, even on Brap. Once God of War dropped, Spider-Man dropped. They basically sold PS5s already because they already know they already know what's whole in the next generation for them. Microsoft at this point is just fighting to get as many people to get two systems in their household as they possibly can. And the biggest thing that they did was make something like Game Pass because guess what? Why would you make Game Pass and put all your games everywhere if you had 100% faith that your system is going to be able to drive what you want to do? That's why this system. That's why Game Pass is here. They know that this is already pretty much like Cobb said. This is the generation you could not afford to lose because everybody is invested. Dude, I got over 1,000 games on my Xbox One. Even if I was just a one console person, I would have to think really hard to just completely forego dropping my system like that. That's a real hard thing to do. And the thing is, you got to remember, half these people are the casual people. Now all their friends are on that system too. They talk to all their people to go over there. They amass the library over there. And what does Microsoft have to show them that makes them feel like they have to get the next Xbox? That's my whole problem with X019 this year. I'm like, I want to know what they're going to do. Like the games, I know the games are going to be there sooner or later because they have the developers under their house now, something they didn't have at the beginning of this generation. For me, why do I need to own your system at this point? I can play these games anywhere. Doesn't matter where I play them at. And that's what you put out there. And that's why I'm saying PlayStation, like people know they can get these games anywhere they want to now. PlayStation still is living by the motto that play your games on our platform as well as Nintendo, and that is basically working for them. So these people are not going to move off their system. Now, a lot of them might go out and buy second systems if it's worth it, because the Switch proves it. The Switch, these people ain't out here. All these Switches ain't being sold to people that just got Switches. These people got Xbox and PlayStation too. So, but trust me, PlayStation will be the number one reason or the number one system these people buy, and probably in the third year or something, when people amass a little bit more money, they'll go out and get those Xboxes and stuff like they did with the PlayStation 3 last generation.
The thing is that like if their goal is, well, you know, maybe in 2022 someone will buy our system, that's a losing mentality, and
Phil already confirmed it though. He already
that's already
he said, I don't care where you play. I just want to play.
He wants the ecosystem.
I do agree with that. But it still comes back to the same problem of content. Whether it's you're playing our games on an Xbox or PC or through xCloud, you gotta give me games to play, and you gotta actually want me to invest in your ecosystem by showing me games that's coming out in the future. If you're not doing any of those things, I see no reason to even bother with you.
Here's the problem.
Hey, I just want to chime in real quick. You know, it's interesting. Some great points, by the way, guys. As I think about what Forte said and what Slow-Mo just said, you know, they very different messages, I think, that you're even hearing early on. Like, I think Jay said, you know, I don't care. Phil said, I don't care where you play, you know, Xbox games. You guys know I've been very vocal. Game Pass Ultimate is a big reason why I went to PC. And that's great. I think that's great. I love that Microsoft did that. I think it's fantastic. But it's interesting. You're already hearing those different the differences of philosophy. Like Jim Ryan's already saying, "Yo, we need to get PlayStation 5s," and he said this: we got to sell them quickly. We got to get them in people's homes as fast as we can. You're not hearing that from Microsoft. I think Microsoft. I think what Slow-Mo was saying is they're more focused on. I just think pushing Xbox more as a service than the hardware. Like they want those subs. Like the whole
they're in.
Yeah, the whole Gears of War thing. They didn't care. They don't care how many copies of Gears 5 they sold. What they're looking at is how many people do we get in Game Pass.
Yeah, the ease of entry is the wild card, right? The Game Pass, the every device, that's the wild. That's what they're banking on. But I do agree with Slow-Mo in the sense that you've got to have bangers on this service. Because if you have then it's like, okay, you know what? Yes, I'm going to plunk this $15 down for Ultimate and I'll play it wherever. They want that. You know what I'm saying? As long as they show that quality. And again, the only hope I'm having, seeing the way this generation ends from, is if you look at the last couple of Game Pass entries, obviously Gears 5, strong game. They needed that to show on their own they can do something. Then you look at something like Outer Worlds. Yes, it's multi-plat now, but you can get that in Game Pass. If you get these level of quality games in Game Pass, then that service becomes very attractive. Then it's like, yo, why? You know, I may have a PlayStation, but yo, for this, you know, $15, I'm getting this, that, and that's how you get people over. But they have to be consistent with it, and they have to show bangers. That's the thing. They got to do it.
Hey, Cog, and if they can, I'm going to talk about the sorcery of xCloud. If they can get bangers to work on xCloud the way I've seen like Killer Instinct and Gears 5, now you're talking about I don't have to spend $500 on an Xbox console. I can just do a monthly subscription. I can stream on my phone, my tablet, maybe my TV one day.
You know, I don't think most gamers want to do that. And you know, I'm in xCloud too, and I just don't. It is a inferior experience to playing on my PC or my Xbox. Like, I will only do it if is a game I really want to play.
I feel you, Slow,
and I'm like out of town.
Slow, but remember, it's not really for us either. Like, we're the hardcore. We doing this at the most optimal level. Jay's doing the 20 Ti's. You know what I'm saying? We got our 4K HDRs. We out here. But again, if you look at a market like a Japan, like a China, like a Korea, who will never buy an Xbox console. They will never cop a console. And now let's say, you know how the US has the T-Mobile joint here, and over there, SK Telecom, the deal they just made with them with the ISP, and you give them this way of entry on the phone, again, provided the games are good, provided those games are quality, they're having these level of experiences. That is a huge deal for a market that would never necessarily even be interested in Xbox. Again, it's a risk.
For Japan, absolutely, because Japan is all about mobile now. That's their thing. But Korea is a big market too.
And all they do is mobile game over there.
Well, no, they play on PC too. They're a big PC. Like B just said, they're a big PC market. That Crossfire X game that they spend a bunch of money to bring over here and have it exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem when it comes over here. That's a PC game. It's a PC first-person shooter. It's ugly as hell. But hey, look. I mean, hey, you know, if people love it, you know, you love what you love. Games. But I mean, I just like when I saw it, I was like, ew. I thought that would look different. But that's all I'm saying. But like when it come over here, you know, maybe it'll get a facelift. But it's a first person shooter, and it's a PC game, and that is like they have. I've heard of like people in Korea dying in like these like lounges where it's like a lounge where it's like you could just sit at a PC and play a game. Just log in and play
24 hours.
Yeah, dudes play for 24 hours and like forget to eat, forget to drink, forget to take a shit. You know, and they end up.
I don't understand.
Look, I don't get it. I'm not on that level of craziness, but like people die in these places. Like they go over and like, hey, yo, dude, you gotta get up. Oh, you're dead. Okay, get them out of here. like that kind of stuff is happening. That's a huge market. But like, if you not, I mean, xCloud is. I don't really see xCloud working in Korea. I can see it working in Japan, but regardless, you gotta have a game that is going to resonate with that market.
Yeah, absolutely.
And getting Crossfire X is fine, but they already got Crossfire X. Right. That's for America, right? And then like if we want to play it, you know, if it get a facelift, because we ain't playing if it's that ugly again. Right. I'm just saying. Yeah, but like it's I understand what they're trying to do, but even when we talk about when we had Matt Piscatella on, and we were talking about how like they want to get that mobile market because that's like 50% of all revenue in gaming. Facts. But those people don't spend money up front.
Nope.
So you talking about a $15 subscription, and they're just like, what? Pay money up front? Are you serious? No, I play free games, and then 30 hours down the road, I spend $1,000 on it. That's what they do, and they don't even think they spending that much money on it. It's like $5 incrementally every 2 days, and next thing you know, they spent thousands of dollars, and it's like, whoops, down my well. But but up front, you never get those people up front.
I feel what you're saying, and you're making valid points, Slow. I'm not even gonna go at you with that. All I will say is that if you make a quality subscription service, just look at what's happening right now with Disney Plus. Woo. Netflix is on notice. Like, bro, we're watching all of this stuff for this extra $15. Bro, they're breaking the internet. So if you see what I'm doing out here, you know what I'm saying? So again, if the service is quality and it provides and it's functional and it has functionality, they will come. It's up to Microsoft to deliver. Gamers have short-term memories. If you put bangers on a service, they will come. That's all you got to do. PlayStation has proved it. All you got to do is have bangers. All that extra power, all that don't matter nothing if you ain't got the bangers. That's what you got to do.
Keyword is bangers.
Listen, I agree with you 1,000%. Now, here's the thing, right? Unfortunately, being in the position that they're in, people will always compare games for games. We've been doing it since the beginning of gaming, right? We've always did Sega versus Nintendo. Well, my Sonic is better than your Super Mario. And so on, right? Crash Bandicoot versus Mario. Okay, so this generation, we have continued to do that. Well, we got God of War. We got Horizon Zero Dawn. We got Spider-Man. We got this. Microsoft has yet to have that to combat those games. And next generation, they have to do that. They can't, I hate to say it, but you can't come out with God of War 2 and then people are like, okay, Microsoft, let me see what you got. And then you drop in Voodoo Vince. You can't do that.
Why we got to do that, Joe?
They better not drop no more Voodoo Vince, man.
Hey, but they got Ninja.
Why that's got to be our competition, though?
No more Battletoads. We better not see no Battletoads sequels.
Phil,
out of here.
Come on, Pete. Phil is barred from bringing any of those games next generation. No, we don't want them, Phil. We don't want them. Too?
Oh man, I can't get my Lucky Tails too.
Listen, Sony has shown them what type of games that gamers want. Now, here's the thing: shout out to Microsoft for buying Obsidian, because they came out with the Outer Worlds, and obviously, it was so good that 78% of the ponies went out and supported this game. So that is what you need, right?
Yes.
You do need to make those acquisitions.
Yes.
You need to have games like that. That solidifies, okay, now guess what? They can come out with Outer Worlds 2, or they can go work on something else. But they got to keep this momentum going.
Yeah,
they can't, I hate to say it, but some little small fluff game is not going to do it.
I feel you. I agree. Y'all preaching. I never disagree with that. Like UMB is preaching on that. They can't. It can't be them little small type of, joints. It's got to be those AAA experiences, and that's what the Xbox base is banking on. Now they want it. It's going to be show and prove time, right? You invested. You made all these investments. Now people want to see. And I can't even fight y'all on that.
So, Locanito, we got Halo Infinite dropping date with the Scarlet.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now here's the thing: it's a brand new engine. It's a brand new front for the series, from what we understand. Now, will that be enough to tie them over into the other games come? Because we know they just bought these studios like last year, and some of them the year before that. These games take time. We can't rush them. We know for a fact Phil is not showing them because they're not ready, or else he would have showed them. But you got next fall coming. You got Sony already telling you, look, we got Horizon Zero Dawn 2. We hiring people to wrap this game up. So we know that Sony is going to try to come out strong. What else can they give us besides that Halo? Or do you think Halo Infinite is enough to tie people over?
I think along with that, do you what?
Go for it.
What other genres do you think they pair with that? You know what I mean? With it being a launch title?
I think this is a good point. I think definitely the success of Scarlet is going to be tied initially to Halo Infinite, because if Halo Infinite knocks it out the park and gives it that classic Halo feel, the base is going to be galvanized. That's just a fact. If they learned from their mistakes from the campaign, because the multiplayer was always strong. It was just a matter of the king bring Locke back, right? So the multiplayer is always strong. So it's just a matter of that narrative and then this new engine, and they have to knock people's socks off. It's a strong Halo, fine. In your points to the other things, they've got to line things up as far as all these other studios with a release cadence that is consistent and bangers. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know the answer to that question, but the only thing I can say is I do like having Obsidian, Ninja Theory, again, giving them RPG, single player experiences. That's always been the Achilles heel. We know they can do multiplayer, all that's great and fine, but they have to give us those type of experiences. So again, if you get whatever Ninja Theory's other thing is, they also sitting on Hellblade 2. We know Outer Worlds eventually will have an Outer Worlds 2. It's probably nowhere near ready right now, but I'm just saying, like, when we got to see there's a lot of people who've been quiet, right? We don't know what the hell Compulsion is doing. We don't know what the hell these other studios are doing. They have to have a consistent release cadence, because you're right. At the end of the day, Sony's sitting on God of War 2, Spider-Man, Horizon Zero. We know those are coming at some point, and they could just whatever they got the time.
Sony gonna go in the back, and they're gonna have 2 or 3 new ones.
Absolutely. That's what makes this generation fun to me, because I know what Sony got in tuck. They got that in the chamber. I want to see what Microsoft do. That's just my thing with it.
Yeah. It's a great point. I mean, that's a great point. I do want to transition, guys, to unless somebody wants to chime in with one more last comment. about Microsoft. I do want to transition to kind of the future of PlayStation as we're talking about Sony, because Jim Ryan did recently come out, gave a pretty long interview about Sony, the PlayStation 5, talked about some of the changes that have happened over the last year or so in preparation for the PlayStation 5. About Sean Layden leaving, that was big news. Shuei Yoshida, whether or not you can argue whether or not he's been demoted or if it was a lateral move. But there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, they are getting ready for PlayStation 5, and I think a lot of the moves, the globalization that's happening right now with Sony is in preparation for that. So I wanted to get everyone's thoughts on this globalization, because I have two thoughts on this. One, this could be great. This could totally streamline the process for them. And then there's that old adage: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if I said this to Cog, if it goes south for Sony next console generation, if it goes south for them, we're gonna go back to this point and talk about. Remember when Jim?
We're gonna talk about the banana in the tailpipe.
Yes, exactly.
We're gonna talk about it if something go wrong. I'll start trouble with Jay.
Yeah, and the other thing too is interesting. And I'll say this, and I think a lot of some Sony fans, when I say this on Twitter, got a little combative with me, but they said, "Oh, it'll never happen," But he left the window open, guys. For there's a gray area there. He left the window open for games and PlayStation Now day and date. He didn't say no, it wouldn't happen. He left it open. If you guys go back to that article, Game Industry Biz, and I'm not gonna quote everything because it's a pretty long article, but he definitely left the door open for that when he talks about PlayStation Now. So. That being said, I'm going to go to you, J-Dub, since you were the pony representative.
Listen.
I'm just kidding.
Birdman hand rub over there.
Birdman hand rub. Yes.
Listen, I'm not going to lie, man. PlayStation 5, I mean, they already did like a light. Some places, I forgot where it was, Switzerland or some like some of these places, it was multiple places. They've already sold out of PlayStation 5. They took early pre-orders. It's like this generation is over, and we still have bullets in the gun. You still got. I mean, we just finished with Death Stranding. We still got Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us 2, Iron Man VR. We still got some stuff coming this generation, but next generation with PS5, it's a no-brainer, man. I think that thing is going to obviously sell out. I just think the masses are going to flock to it in this generation, and what they did this generation. Cognito was kind of right. I'm not saying that I'm worried about Jim Ryan and the whole thing. They did everything almost perfectly, right? This was their template. This was their template. They fixed what they messed up last generation. They found out what they did. They fixed it. And that gave them this perfect record, right? But now there's a lot of personnel changes. There's a lot of things, and I get it, right? Some of it is warranted worry, and others is not, because most of these guys have been with the company for over 30 years. It's time for them to retire. We can't keep asking these guys to keep putting in a decade of their life.
J-Dub, quick. I don't mean to interrupt you. Quick question: do you think that Sony's preparing themselves to be sold?
No.
Don't get King in here.
Not at all.
Let me hit King.
And I'm going to tell you why, right? Sony, for one, Sony is a Japanese company through and through. It's a Japanese company. If anything they would sell, it would be, who knows, maybe a movie division, maybe a music division. But they got cameras. I mean, Sony does a lot of everything. But their bread and butter is the PlayStation. I don't think they want to sell. I don't think they're in a position to sell. But they have been doubling down and tripling down on their video game division, which is, at the end of the day, that's all I care about. I don't care about any, besides the cameras, because I'm in the alpha line of cameras. But Sony has done everything so perfectly this generation. That fear that they're going to come out the gate or down the line, they're going to try to change too much stuff that is going to turn me off from being a play. Now, I'm all about the bangers, right? And I think they're going to keep that up. But like Canito said, hey man, if they start trying to put stuff date and date, if they start trying all these stuff and if you whittle my gaming experience in the ownership, and that's the whole thing about this gaming stuff, right? Ever since I had Atari, it's all about the ownership. When you spend money on something, that's an investment you can feel proud of. You invested in that.
But Jay, you're still investing. Even if you still, let's say, using Game Pass example, you're still investing in that product per se. You know what I mean? Like,
you are, but see,
financially.
Listen, video games are like a woman, man. You don't let your woman be by no other man.
You're one that's finessing your girls.
No, that's I'm
Come on, bro.
I'm a lion.
The homies gotta get some.
I'm territorial.
Oh my God.
I'm territorial about my property.
Come on, past that.
Listen, the moment Kratos makes his way on the competition's platform, that's a wrap. You gave my girl up. You can't do that.
But what if they try to survive, Kratos? What if they need this to survive, to get them through?
Okay, here's the thing. The PlayStation division is your money. That's what's keeping the lights on.
Yes, sir.
If you go trying to tinker with that and hoard that out, sorry for my language, now you're going to alienate your base. You're gonna start doing a lot of stuff that Microsoft started doing, and we haven't seen the effects of that just yet. But it may, only time can tell, right? Game Pass is a great value for any gamer, bar none. But only within the next couple of years will we see the repercussions of that. Is that sustainable? Do people feel like, hey man, if I can get Halo on my PlayStation or my PC, that's less incentive for me to be forced to go out and spend $500 on the store.
But what if that strategy financially benefits Sony long term and allows them to survive?
Listen, it does. It probably does, especially with Microsoft, right? But here's the difference between Microsoft and Sony. Microsoft wasn't able to sell the consoles. They were not able to push those consoles, whereas Sony was easily able to sell 20 million a year on average. So they're not in the same bucket. Right. Yes, Microsoft's money is long, right? So if they wanted to, they could be like Google and just keep dumping money until the cows come home. They'll never be affected by that. But Sony's not in that position. So Sony has to be very careful saying, look, we have 5 million people right now. We want to keep every one of those guys. We're not going to do anything to alienate those. And here's the thing, right? Sony needs to be in a position, which they have, though, but they need to keep that position where not only are they trying to keep their base, but they're trying to go after the Nintendo fans and the Xbox fans, right? Okay, we know y'all like shooters and multiplayer games. Now let me invest in multiplayer games and shooters that will entice this Halo fan or this Gears fan to come over here. That's what Sony needs to do. That's what they need to target. And I think Microsoft, I would have liked Microsoft to be in a position to do that. But let's face it, they're not in that position. They were not in the position this generation to do that. The people just did not come out. They did not get the hardware. The messaging was wrong. The price was wrong. And by the time they could have did anything, it was just too late. The momentum was gone. Once you lose momentum in this industry, that's a wrap. That's a wrap. Now they could have pulled the Nintendo, closed up shop there, and came out with another iteration or another strategy, but they decided to go into their services and subscriptions model, and that may work for Microsoft. That may get them through the next generation. That may be the next best thing. We don't know for 2, 3, 4 years from now.
Facts.
Yeah.
So I just hope that Sony don't change too much to where I can't identify them, and then because if not, right, I'm just going to stick to my PC and
to your PC.
PC Master Race, baby.
I mean, might as well if they do that, you'll be playing their games on PC too. So.
Exactly. The moment, listen, I tell anybody, yes, I'm a diehard PlayStation fan, but the moment Yoshida and his Ryan dude, whatever his name is,
Ryan.
Once they stop bringing them bangers, I have no reason to be there. I'm not one of those guys but I have 200,000 games on my system and I gotta take. I'm not that guy. Once I play that game and I beat it, That's it for me. I take that game, I stick it in the closet. That's in my retro collection. I am not. I'm a one-time only. I'm gonna beat this game and I'm done. And I'm looking forward for that sequel. So they better keep that going, because if not, they lose me. I'm gone. I already got waiting, right? So I already got a Scarlet. I already got a PS5. The moment you play a J-Dub, you can play a God of War and Spider-Man and the new Ghost of Tsushima on PC. That's a wrap. That's the end.
I feel you.
You know, I think I'll say it like this, right? They definitely left the door open. And it's smart for them to do that, I think, because they're being cautious. They know they're in the driver's seat. Why give that up? But at the same time, Microsoft didn't have a lot of first party content yet. They still seem to be generating a lot of revenue with this services deal. So you sit back and you go ahead and you make deals with them on cloud, because hey, they got the infrastructure and they have the money to put money in, you know, to continue the infrastructure. You ain't got all that. You ain't got the capital to be trying to build that up. Go ahead and make that deal with them. Better to deal with the devil you know than the devil that you don't, with Amazon trying to come in the industry, with Google trying to come in the industry. Deal with Microsoft. You already been kicking their ass. You don't want to add 2 more people to the fray. So yeah, that makes sense. But like, so what they're doing now, I think is smart. Go ahead and put some of these first party games in PS Now and rotate it. You don't need to do day and date right now. You can actually sell your games, and then after that 90-day period where sales drop off and they never pick back up, then somewhere in there you could throw that game into PS Now and then boost PS Now up. Now, if in the future, let's say in 2022, Game Pass is now like the Netflix, the quote unquote Netflix of gaming. Then now you can take your superior first party library and go day and date with your bigger install base, and you could be a better version of Game Pass than what Game Pass has.
And it's a copycat league, bro. It's a copycat league.
It's a copycat league, and there's nothing wrong with it because this is business. Then if you can do what someone else does, then why not?
That's all predicated now. Now think about it. We're talking in terms of future, because this
absolutely.
We haven't reaped no results from this, right?
Nope.
Right.
It's predicated on us accepting streaming as a equal to the console.
Yeah.
But today in 2019, we all say no. Hardware or console will always be our mainstay. But you know what? At the beginning of this generation, Xbox got shit because they said always online. And guess what? That same model, if they was to say that, nobody would blink an eye.
No,
We all are accustomed to that. So it's all about the timing, right? It's all about the timing.
Yeah. Correct.
I said, with Microsoft doing Game Pass now, people may look at it, they may laugh at it, they might say it's not viable. But we don't know what that's going to be like 4 or 5 years from now.
Good point.
Exactly. That's why it's so smart for them to play it like this, because it's like you don't close that door. But if it turns out this is the new wave, you're already set up to just jump right in. You already got the infrastructure because you're using your competition's infrastructure.
Right.
You already got your foundation with PS Now to turn your platform into, instead of focusing on PlayStation, you now focus on PS Now on everything. You already got all that infrastructure set up. If that's the new wave, you can just say, just snap your fingers. First party, day and date, what? And now you're already in the fray. Look what happened in them just putting games that came out last year on PS Now. They doubled their subs in 30 days. They finally got PS Now over that 1 million hump that it couldn't get over since 2014.
Yeah,
this is they understand what they're doing.
You know what's real quick interesting about that point about putting the new games in a PlayStation Now. The one game I thought was big for them was Grand Theft Auto.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
that was huge.
And that made me think.
That was amazing.
That made me think back to one thing. Sony's got very strong relationships.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some big bangers like third-party stuff getting the PlayStation Now before it hits Game Pass, and it starts becoming this thing like we see with like with marketing of games, where Microsoft has a third-party rights or Sony does. I wouldn't be surprised if Sony starts leveraging that, and you start seeing those bigger third-party titles dropping in, maybe even exclusively.
Yep,
Or
they have the ability.
Yeah,
Ryan
they have
said
the
that.
relationships.
Ryan said that in his interview. He was like, next generation is not really about the hardware. It's about the content. It's about going and grabbing the content. It's about what deal can I secure? What studio can I buy? Because you got to realize we got the elephant in the room that I don't know if we're going to talk about it now, but we got Google Stadia. We got Google. Unlimited amount of money, just like my. No. Listen. I know they're the new dogs. They're the new dogs.
You can only buy the games on the phone or something.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest.
I told y'all
with
they
you.
wasn't ready, man.
Y'all
trying to shame me.
None of these consoles had any features that it had until later on, right? So it's going to be the same thing with Google Stadia. We're crapping on it now, but remember that same thing was said about previous consoles.
But Jay, none of these other platforms said you were going to get stuff at launch and then renege on everything.
They never reneged. They never told you what was going to be at launch. Matter of fact, they
said the controller was going to be wireless, didn't they?
Listen, and that's a whole big. That's a misconception. Wireless, right? The controller is still a wireless controller, but is this controller can connect to your actual Wi-Fi. That's what that controller is capable of.
The problem is that they can't. Apparently, and I don't have the article, but I don't know if it was B who dropped the article in DM.
I read the article,
but it was you can only buy the games on your phone. Is that? Am I understanding that correctly?
No. There was an AMA on Reddit today.
Okay, go ahead.
And that's where that came out, where basically you can only buy games on your phone. They don't even have a web page for Stadia set up where you can buy games online, even though you play your game on YouTube or whatever the heck you're playing Stadia on your computer. You can't buy games from that. You gotta use your phone or something.
And so my point, I'll say this, Jade. I'll let you point it, but I'll say this. This sounds, and B, you're right, man. You can pull the receipts on me, man. I'll hold that low because I was. I was the man crazy about Google and 5G and this thing is do you know what this sounds like? It sounds like a soft launch.
It sound like a check for Lords of Gaming.net tomorrow morning. This joint sound, my boy, he got some fire here now. This joint sound like a glorified beta. Let's just call it what it is right now. You know what I'm saying?
Look at the games that's launching with it.
That's exactly.
It's 30 games.
They sold you the Founders Edition that launches November the 19th.
And you won't even get it that day.
No, for everybody else, that starts early next year, which is in January. According to Phil Harrison, like if you go to Stadia.com,
the real Phil,
you read all the Phil.
you gonna stop that slander, stop it.
I know. So here's the thing about it, right? This is known stuff. Now I'm a day one adopter, right? So I'm all in for Google Stadia. I'm all in. So this is stuff I've already known. I've already researched. I've already been reading and seeing their videos and stuff like that. I've already been on the forums. I've already been there. And so this is not okay, guys, we're ready to go. Everybody go and dig in. This is not that. This is for the founders, which is they had so many people, which had already sold out. And they come January when they're ready, that's when they're going to start unlocking all their other stuff that they come out every week. There's going to be games and features and updates and stuff that's coming every week for that, starting the first of the year, which is January. They've already said this, so this is nothing new.
Hey Jay, real quick, I gotta pay the bills real quick, man. Big shout out to my man, One Bad Mother. If you guys don't know, let me tell you something about OBM. I've known this guy since like Xbox Live beta days.
Salute.
Like 17 years, man. I still play with him on Xbox Live. So big shout out to him. The $4.99 super chat. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. He says, I have this money to give you due to all the money I've saved on games. Thanks,
who did that for you?
Yeah, it's a great show, Brad, and I hope you. Yeah, who did that for you?
Who did that? Who made you say that money for that super chat?
Yeah. And then who also gave you Phantom Dust?
Oh, man. Damn it, bro.
That voodoo vent?
Man. Too much slander in the basement radio.
Yeah. Okay. So look, I gotta do this. I pulled up this Ars Technica article.
Ooh, I got that one on deck too.
Yes, let's talk
I love slow. Be ready.
Hey, yo, guys, before you go on that, I gotta drop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's late, man.
Man,
Much love, brother.
No
Take
problem.
it
Hey,
Take care, bro.
Hey, Cog, always great having y'all on.
Always
man.
love, bro. You already know.
Enrique, get them technical issues out so we can be out at a reasonable time.
I know, man. Hey, well, that's also how's Stadia gonna work? You know, I mean, I'm just,
I know, right?
Are they still going to have it? Because that's what this article is talking about. There are developers.
Hey, get us slow mo. I'll catch you guys later.
Oh, my
All right, later, bro.
Alrighty.
Take it easy.
Peace, man.
Later, AJ.
There are developers that are like, they said the biggest complaint most developers have with Stadia is the fear that Google is just going to cancel it,
Hey,
which is a Google thing.
Time
It's
out,
called Googling.
time out.
It's what Google do. They just cancel stuff. They just
Slow-mo.
like, we put all this money in this. You know what? Nah, I don't want to do it no more. Cancel.
Slim, hold on for a second. I gotta go to the live chat real quick.
Go for it.
Daniel B said Phantom Dust with original assets.
4K assets, sir.
I'll leave it at that. So, Phil did that for you, by the way. Go ahead.
That's right.
So I'm just like, look, that
So-
is, if that's what developers saying, yo, that's not good look.
Spooky. That's spooky.
Why am I going to invest in your ecosystem?
Is
It's
it one
different.
developer or?
We conflating it, right? It was
Oh, come on.
Here we go.
That's the founders talking.
That's that founders edition.
Biggest complaint, most developers, it's plural.
We gotta get Mooch in here now.
Yeah, Mooch is there. But Mooch and J, though, they the team on this.
sell it, man. We'll sell it.
The Fugal tag team. Go ahead, man.
Tag team. Tap in.
Right.
Go ahead, Jay.
I give this thing right once it actually launches, it fully launches, not the founders or whatever.
Yeah.
I give it to about May to June. By then, we will see the bulk of what this thing is about because they would have rolled out a lot of their features and a lot of their stuff that's going on. And listen, in any technology, right? Any technology, Google's a technology company. In any tech, just like Microsoft, right? Microsoft did the whole HoloLens thing. They did the Connect. They did a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Any new tech, when you're pushing stuff forward and you're trying things, somebody has to pay the piper. And who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had On Live. We had, this whole NVIDIA Shield stuff. People, that's what companies do. They try stuff.
Hey,
but here's the thing, right? We're probably at that point where we got all of these companies, right? Sony, we got Microsoft, even Nintendo is in the whole streaming. They got over in Japan, they streaming games on the Switch. So this is the right time to be trying this stuff while everybody has their iteration of where we're going to be in the future.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, listen. Go ahead, B.
Hey, Jay, is Google gonna be at E3 with the Stadia?
Matter of fact, they bought some new studios. They got exclusive. And see, that's the thing about it, man. Is this is the biggest thing. It's like exclusives matter. That is another reason for someone to go and buy your stuff. This is why I'm hoping Phil Dominus will backtrack on a lot of his games going everywhere. I don't mind some, but they gotta have something there that says, I'm sorry, we Microsoft. If you want to play the best of the best, you gotta come over here. I hope he backtracks, but only for my own personal reasons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do think that, and to your point, yeah, exclusives do matter, and but I do believe Google's launch is just it's not, even if you want to say this is a glorified beta, I don't think that the fact that they didn't start their own studio until Jade Raymond left EA, and then 2 seconds later, she's running our studio. Like what? Like you're not that. Whatever game Jade Raymond comes out with isn't going to be here for years. Like that's not how you get people into your ecosystem when you need exclusives. I do think that if anyone needs to be, if any new entry as a platform into the ecosystem or into the gaming industry as a whole, people should worry about is Amazon, because Amazon went and took Crytek Engine, made a custom version of it called a Lumberjack. They got all their games running on it. They've had for years been actually developing games exclusively for whatever they're coming out with. And Amazon is not just, hey, let's throw it out here now since everyone else is doing a cloud service already. They're taking their time. They're probably not going to come out for another couple years. Amazon is looking at Google like, you know what?
You damn fool.
You a damn fool. I ain't going to jump off that cliff with you. I'm gonna do what I am going to do is use you as an example and do it the right way. So I think that's the one that, like, because look, Sony was about to do with Amazon what they're doing with Microsoft, but at some point in there, they changed their mind, completely dropped it, even dropped Amazon completely as their cloud go-to for PSN, and now going with Microsoft. Like, what happened there?
I'm gonna tell you what happened there. Microsoft. If you go to Microsoft site, what it is Azure is 78% cheaper than any other competition.
That is very true. Yeah.
So you got to realize, for a company like Sony, that 78% savings is life for them. You see what I'm saying?
That for you.
Yeah. You see, I work in the government contracting field in the DC area, and you see it, like, companies are switching from AWS, Azure Web Services, to Azure because it's cheaper. It's way cheaper, and it's the same as far as quality goes. It's the same. So why not? Why not save some money and get the same kind of product?
It makes sense. Right. You can compete in various sectors, but at the end of the day, it's you scratch my back, I scratch your back, and that's the deal that happened. Right? Sony getting some of Microsoft is getting some of the technology that Sony has, some of their sensors,
some of those blades.
It's a lot of stuff that goes in that deal within these companies and stuff like that. And so we shouldn't be shocked. But one thing I'm saying, I think a lot of people are writing Google off too early. We've seen it time and time again, man. People, this is going to be the next Ouya. This is going to be this. Yes, they have come out with Google Glass and a lot of stuff, but you got to realize that's the stepping stone in technology and in this particular field. That's what Microsoft, Sony, that's what Google, Amazon, Apple, all of them do. They feed off each other. And if the companies are not willing to take the risk to move forward, then nobody's going to go forward.
Right. Listen, I think that the tech is there. I mean, obviously, I'm strong with the tech. I just, the issue just comes down to Google's track record. And I think right now what has people nervous is, like, a lot of people have given glowing reviews of Stadia as far as the functionality. The thing comes down to, obviously, yes, the ownership, the games, that's going to have to be there, but their history of abandoning stuff. I mean, let's be real. We starting this podcast on all these different formats because they just woke up one day and said, we're killing Hangouts on air. Like, they literally just got rid of a service that people are beloved, and the list goes on, like the Google Plus and certain things. So again, if devs are saying this now, all I'm saying is it just got our eyebrows up. Like, yo, are they gonna stick with this if they have any adversity out the gate? If they knock it out, great. You know what I'm saying? They may stick around, but I think that's what the concern is right now.
And people are even scared right now that they gonna stop making a Pixel phone because it's not selling the way that they envisioned that it would.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Shoot, I hope they wait until I get mine. Because I have a Samsung, and not to divulge too far off the topic, but I get burned in on my screen. It's a 4K screen. It's great, but my S9, I got burned in like crazy, and that doesn't happen on the Pixel. But
you got burned on your S9? Jeez.
Yeah, this is my third S9. Wow. They all get burned in. And like I was on my third one when my warranty went up, and it was just like, all right, now my warranty's up. I can't switch it out for free to get another one just for it to get burned in again. Yeah. Thanks, Samsung.
Salute.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. You know what? We're getting close to the midnight hour, and Mr. Bratt needs to get to bed. Maybe try to play some Death Stranding real quick.
Before we get out of here, though, I want to touch on the whole Sony thing.
Yes, go ahead.
A lot of people are like, oh, you know what I mean? It's Sony's in dire need, and they're about to crash a ship. You know what I mean? Everybody's worried about all the changes in the managerial positions or whatever. But like, a lot of people talk about Shuhei Yoshida and taking his new position or whatever. And it's like, yeah, he was in charge of first party studios. But when you look at what they did this generation, what banger did we get from first party that we knew we weren't going to get besides Horizon Zero Dawn? look at this year. Look at the end of last year.
Yeah.
All those games did not meet it to the level of standard for Sony. Look at Days Gone. Not what people expected.
Nope.
Yeah.
Look at Death Stranding. Not what people expected. Concrete Genie. Not what people expected.
Mhm.
Medieval. Not what people expected. So Shuhei Yoshida was in charge of first party studios, and look what was delivered towards the end of the generation. So you know what I mean. When you move him into a specialty category, like being a part of, in charge of the independent developers or whatever the case may be,
Which is something he's passionate about, by the way.
yeah, he's super passionate about that. And then, if they choose to use that strategy to help them, put games in the PS Now and kind of bolster that, where they're getting newer games in there from, prestigious, development companies, in the indie sector, then, why not do that and let him, flourish in that role, and help bolster PlayStation Now. So then you move Herman, someone who's been known to be collaborative, if you look at the history of what Guerrilla has done, developing the Decima engine, being collaborative with all the other first party studios, going to different studios, meeting with them, teaching them different things. Like that's the guy who you want in charge of first party studios, because he's the one who's been developing games for X amount of years. So he knows quality, So when he goes in to these studios and they're not up to par, it's like, nah, I need you to go back and get it right. And he can at least guide them, in the right direction. So I'm super excited. Herman is in that position. I met him at PlayStation Experience. Great dude. We had a great conversation. And everything that Jim Ryan has been saying lately has been exactly what I thought he was gonna be. A lot of people tried to, give him shit about the whole, playing no games thing or whatever when we talk about backwards compatibility. But I knew exactly where he's coming from. So I like what he's saying now, and I like everything they did when he was in the European market. He really brought, made PlayStation a big thing in the European market, and really basically took over that market. So
Facts.
If he comes in with that same mind frame, and it seems like he is, the way that they're heading into PlayStation 5, then I think they're gonna be just fine. I think they might even be rolling a little stronger, a little faster, a little harder. With PlayStation 5, more than what people expect.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting, man.
Yeah, that's a great point, B. I mean, he's one. He is not about complacency. He talked about that. I think he is going to. I think there's one thing that I think is kind of fascinating about him. He is he's very vocal, and he is not. I get the sense he is not going to go down without a fight. And I think that is I think. Again, we don't know what happened with Sean Layden. He's missing. He's MIA. We don't know where he is.
He's been tweeting actually and liking and
tweeting.
Yeah, he's been liking all the PlayStation
Oh,
stuff.
they got about the dungeon?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But
even when they let him go, he was liking stuff though.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
The rumor
he was.
The rumor.
He gave a congratulations to Shu on his new role, and as well as the Herman. Hope, his name is whatever.
Herman Hoff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I think the rumors are, that there was an internal battle. Jim Ryan won. I think that probably speaks to his determination, if you will. This guy's not going down without a fight. So it's not going to happen. But we'll see. We'll see. And like I said earlier, if this thing goes south, Cog, you and I will be having a conversation.
Banana in the tailpipe.
You and I will be having a conversation for sure in the rest of the show.
I'm just joking. Now, I will say this though. All jokes aside, I do like when someone who is new take, that doesn't want to be complacent. And I did like the statement that he said about, the previous generation winner generally doesn't. So the fact that he's acknowledging that, I like that he's making them versatile and adaptable. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, like I said on LP, this is going to be viewed as one or two things. This is going to be a genius move that made them really prepare and not stay complacent with antiquated thinking, or it could go the other way where it's like, yo, you had all these quality bangers. There was no need if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. And the key is going to be the games. If the games remain the same, like you said, Brap, you made a great point. If that high quality of those Sony bangers continue throughout the PS5 generation, nobody gonna care about this. Everybody gonna be like, yep, business as usual. We back on doing what we do. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing.
Let me ask y'all, Why would y'all think that the quality of bangers would change?
I guess my only concern that I said is that I think his mentality is correct that they need to globalize, and that means, obviously Sony with the 3 divisions operating, I won't say completely independently, but almost they had 3 different personalities with the EU, the Japan, and the US. So when you do that in a company, there is consolidation, and then people with redundant positions are going to get let go. So my only concern is that he's been so dominant with the EU, and let's be real, like you said, like the EU, they took over, right? They showed a different level than Microsoft in that whole area. They just took that region. So I just want to make sure that they don't lose their personality, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to chasing the wave, so to speak, because we all know right now the wave is supposedly streaming, supposedly services, like Jay said, we got to see how it's going to play down the road. So, I get it. You got to chase the money. And if that's the future, you want to position yourself, as long as the games stay where they at. I'm not saying they're going to go down. I'm just saying the proof's in the pudding that if we see, because some people low key are complaining now. Slow, I think you had a tweet. I think you was an IP. You was like, yo, Days Gone and Concrete Genie and Death Stranding ain't all the way it, right? Compared to 2018, right?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying it's definitely going down. People just want to see that level maintained, and I don't think it'll be a non-issue.
And that goes to what I was saying before, though, because like if you look at the studios that made the bangers,
right?
We only expect the bangers from them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like we haven't seen anything from Ben in forever. You know what I mean? Like we can't expect them to come out with a banger like they made PSP games and Vita games, you know what I mean? Like for them to come back to console, like it was cool, you know what I mean? They made a decent game or whatever, sold pretty well. But it wasn't anything highly rated. And then you get the Concrete Genie that's Pixel Opus, you know what I mean? Like nobody had high expectations for that. You know what I mean? So like when Insomniac drops Spider-Man, we're gonna have high expectations, and I'm sure they're gonna deliver. And when Santa Monica drops God of War, we're gonna have high expectations, and they're gonna deliver. And when Naughty Dog shows up, we're gonna have high expectations, and they're gonna deliver. So and when Go to the Tsushima team, I can't think of the name right now, but when they show up, we got high expectations. But like everybody else is whatever. You know what I mean? It's the same way with
right? At the end of the day, it's show and prove. Once you show people, then it shuts people up. You know what I'm saying? So all they gotta do is just do what they've been doing, and all this rhetoric will go out the window. But if it is another year, this again, that people gonna be like, "Yo, what's up with dude? Like this wasn't happening before when Layden was here." And you know how the rhetoric start. You know what I'm saying? They just got a business as usual, man.
Sony's biggest asset are their studios.
Right.
Their studios are proven time after time. They're proven. That expectation for their studios is a lot higher than anybody else in the industry.
Yes, sir.
So here's the thing about it, right? Yes, with Concrete Genie and Days Gone and stuff in those games, if you look at the Metacritic, they didn't blow the top off the chart.
Right.
But then when you look at how many copies they sold, Days Gone was right under Uncharted 4 for the number 6 of the best-selling game this generation. So that means even when they fail, they still win, and people go out and buy their games. So you have to look at it like that. And number 2. Sony does have a level of quality control, and that means that, and that was credit to Yoshida. That was his job, was to go and play test these games and make sure that they weren't broken, and make sure that they were a game that people wanted to buy and they wanted to support. And
why was Days Gone broken?
That goes back to that Metacritic, right? And rightfully so, it should have got that score because
my man wasn't doing his job, like I said.
Exactly. Listen, if you give a reviewer your game before you have that final patch in there, that's your fault. You deserve that score. Don't give them the stuff until you have that patch. I never understood that about developers that want people to play their game.
Yeah, good point.
You deserved it. Who cares if the day one patch fixed most of the bugs, and most people say, "Oh, this game should have been an 80, 88, whatever." It doesn't matter. You chose to give them that game, and that was your fault. You take the L.
How about they stop worrying about dropping games in a particular quarter and how an investor feels about it? And if a game needs a couple more months to get more polish and get some of those bugs out, go ahead and delay it 2 more months so that when it does come out, it doesn't have all those issues, because we see that with a lot of games where you can just tell this could have used, but by like 2 months after it launched, it's almost a different game. It's just like, why didn't you just wait so that people could, finish doing what they needed to do to get the game right where it is? That's why I had no problem with The Last of Us 2 getting delayed a little bit further. I'm like, good.
I'm going to tell you why they do that, right? Because they have a clock cycle. Okay, we only got 4 quarters, and we got this game coming out this quarter, that game. Sony typically release games throughout the year, versus Microsoft, they focus more towards the holiday. In the previous years, right? In the previous years, their big games are always coming towards the holiday. Sony like to launch their big games the first part of the year, sometime around February and March. And it's crazy because this next year they had The Last of Us 2 launching on February 21st. And then right around the corner, 2 weeks later, their next big game, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, that made no sense. But they got pushed in that corner because of the games getting delayed. Death Stranding getting moved to the end. And it's like, you got to give your game time to saturate, to set in. They got MLB right there next door. They had you can't jumble all your games there, because people are going to start picking and choosing. Well, I'll buy a game now. And I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna buy all of these games. I'm just gonna wait, and if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. You have to pick and choose your target market. Nobody wants to drop their game right there next to Call of Duty or Battlefield. Nobody wants to do that. So you have to pick those perfect times, and that's how they ended up in that position.
All right. All right. We're gonna go ahead. Anyone have any last words on before you wrap up the podcast on this particular topic?
Oh man, it's been fire.
Yeah, this has been a
great show.
Absolutely.
Fun show.
X019 tomorrow, baby.
Yeah, you know what? Tomorrow's going to be great. I hope XO. I really do have hopes. I'm kind of with you, Kai. Kind of a little,
Keep them down.
Not gunshot. I can't wait. I really hope that they have a good show, because obviously that benefits us.
No doubt.
But no doubt, this has been an awesome show. Had a blast having you and Jay on, Cog, and people in live chat have been commenting on the show. Appreciate all the super chats. Big shout out to Eric Jackson, who had to leave early. He had to get to bed. But gentlemen, J-Dub and Incognito, always a pleasure having you guys on. Seriously,
facts. That's my bro right there.
Facts.
Yeah, you guys are great. We love having you on the show. Cog, I hope one day, man, you join the Daywalkers.
Join the Daywalkers.
Yeah, sure.
I like this Daywalker life for a week. I ain't gonna front. It's been fun talking to people.
Yeah, it's nice. See,
no doubt.
Yeah, man, that'd be great if we get you on BRAP a little more. So,
yes, sir.
But gentlemen, I'll start with you, Cog. Please let everyone know where they could find you and the awesome Iron Lords podcast, which you guys, again,
Facts, the best.
Great. Yeah, you guys are just great. Fantastic.
Thank you, brother. Really appreciate the support, man. Salute to y'all too, man. I mean, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, y'all definitely one of my favorites. Always love hearing y'all perspectives and everybody, man. Slow, EJ, B Money, Gaming Forte, Brap, you know what I'm saying, with the spicy takes. It's always fun, man. And thank y'all for supporting us, man. Especially the site as well, lordsofgaming.net. And you already
working over there.
We're making some things.
I see y'all.
You see us. We try to do some things, man. Some real special things. Passionate guys on the team. We're just trying to build something special by the gamers, you know what I'm saying, from the grassroots up. And every Sunday, y'all already know, is the Lord's Day, you know what I'm saying, 11 a.m. Eastern during football season. We go back on one probably like January. Catch Solve and my boy Addict, and of course the King acting all crazy this week on Twitter. You know, so I got to tell him to stand down. He out here busting his gun on everybody. I'm like, boy, if you don't slow down a little bit, man, I can't take all this beef for 1 week, bro. But salute my bro, man. He's passionate. I love what he's doing. But at the end of the day, he mean well. Y'all know he mean well. He a good
oh yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts, man.
Yeah, salute to y'all. And this is mad fun. This is Brad. This is like low key one of the best shows of the year. Not just because I'm on it, but I was just like, this show was lit. Like I was completely engaged from start to finish. And it's rare that I say that about anybody's podcast. So please
Thank you,
keep
man.
doing what you're doing, man. I love the commentary. I love the different perspectives. Even when we don't agree, everybody's respectful.
Yes.
That's what game is about, man. I love y'all.
Absolutely.
Y'all already know that.
No, thank you, man. I appreciate
Facts.
that. Yeah, J-Dub, let everyone
Yeah.
know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, you guys know where to find me, man. Talking smack, setting Twitter ablaze, keeping it pushing while I'm in my office with my foot kicked up, bored.
Setting off the bombs and walking away.
Facts. Right before a meeting, I'll tweet something and walk away and come back and watch people throwing tomatoes and milk on like this.
Man.
Hey, but real talk, man. Hey, if we went on, without us, man, Twitter would be half the fun, bro. Real talk. we all feed off each other and we all have fun. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Facts.
You guys can find me on Twitter at JDubCity16. Trying to keep you guys laughing with the gifts and the memes. You know what I mean? Thanks, Brap, Cognito, B Money, everybody on the panel. Y'all already know this is kind of like a second home to me. So thanks for having me on again, and I'll see y'all later.
All right,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Sounds good, man. Thank you again. Always a pleasure. Let's go to Slow-Mo. Slow-Mo, you got a channel. I heard you plug it earlier. Please let everyone know where they can find your content. If you're not following Slow-Mo's channel, you guys need to. He really puts out some really unique content on YouTube. So let everyone know where they can find you, Slow-Mo.
Yeah, man. Hey, again, I appreciate the shout out there. Yeah, my YouTube channel, same name, Slow Mo Backslap. My channel is about gaming. It ain't about anything else but game. I don't care what platform it's on. If it's a hot game, if it's a new indie dev that's coming out with something that you never heard before, I'm gonna talk about it. So that's what I do. And I catch me on Twitter with the same name as well. So yeah, great show, guys. I had a great time. It is midnight.
I know.
Can't believe,
It flew by,
you know
bro.
what? It flew by. That's what happens when you got a great show. You don't even realize how much time is going on. So, thank you, Jay and Cognito, for coming through, man. Y'all really added the spice that to make it even spicier. So you know what it is, guys. Hit the like button, and everybody have a great night, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Slow-Mo. And we have Forte, man. Forte, this guy, if you're not following Forte, you need to follow him. Guy is so super positive.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, the other day, man, he put out a video. I guess it was snowing. Where
His
he
tweets,
was. He was like, everyone be careful, and I felt like he was talking to me. It wasn't even snowing where I live. I was like, I'm gonna be safe.
Good dude, man.
I'm gonna be
Not yet,
safe.
at least.
Yeah, so Forte, let everyone know where they can find you, man.
Nah, man. Amazing show as always, Jay. Man, always a pleasure to be on here with you. I got to be on here twice with Cognito and
yes, sir.
Can't get no better than that. And then just riding out with the rest of the crew. I really appreciate everything you guys do for me and my channel. But like you said, man, Gaming Forte on Twitter and YouTube. Been working on a video for the last 3 days, so that's getting ready to go up tomorrow morning. So be on the lookout for that. But it's got a lot to do with XO. So if you really want to know exactly what I really truly feel is going to happen to XO, check out that video at 8:00 tomorrow morning.
Okay,
Nice.
I'm on it.
I'll have to check it out. All right, B Money. Let people know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, you can find me here every Wednesday night, and then on Twitter, acting a fool with these guys. So same name everywhere. You know what I mean?
Sir.
Oh man, B was pulling receipts on me today. The whole
Ain't
Google
lying,
thing.
either.
He was like, "Yeah, where's Lord 5G at?" I was like, "Yeah, he's not in the building today.
Not the building.
He is not here." So
Is he coming in tomorrow? No, I don't think he works here anymore.
he's coming in tomorrow.
It was a great show, man. I appreciate Kyle coming through, Jay coming through, man. It's always love, you know what I mean, when they're in the building.
Brother.
No, I appreciate it, man.
No doubt.
Yes,
Well, I just want to give a shout out to again everyone in the live chat. Thank you guys so much for spending a couple of hours with us this evening. It went by fast, and also PC Master Race. Thank you. So we'll be back next Wednesday. Actually, there might be a rant video maybe tomorrow, depending on what happens with X019. So I might have a rant going on. But we'll see.
If they don't show up, we pulling up, man.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Pull up. I ain't got to work until the afternoon selling Pokemon tomorrow.
All right.
That's right, man.
I'm picking up
And Star
Jedi Fallen
Wars.
Order tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah,
Oh, hey, what them
6
reviews
p.m.
hitting for,
Play it
man?
If you on PC, baby.
Yes, sir. So,
Mhm.
Oh, speaking of Star Wars, has anybody watched The Mandalorian yet?
yes.
I gotta get to it.
Not yet.
Yes,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I'll leave it.
I feel like that is the best incarnation of Star Wars I've seen in probably the last 10 years.
Okay.
Ooh, I'm on it.
All right. Yeah, Disney Plus is fire. All right, guys. On that note, we are out. We'll see you guys maybe tomorrow, depending on how XL goes tomorrow afternoon. Other than that, we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Again, big shout out to our guests, Cognito and
Salute.
J-Dub, and the rest of the panel as well. Slow-Mo, B-Money, Eric Jackson, Gaming Forte. We're out. Guys, have a great rest of the week. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.